And that is 24 degrees the no, that's changed. 18 degrees the ambient, 19 on track, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No one can hear me? Okay, we'll try that again. Hello, everyone. Nice to have you along for the ride. I was going to say, when I was confused by the first comment that was coming in, not the second one from Josh Suno. The first one that came in was like, hang on, where? As in, I said the right venue. I was sure of that. Right, let's straighten up and get on with it here. Spreyton Cider, LMP2. Let's just quickly run through the point standings. We might come back and do some housekeeping in just a moment if time permits, folks. 309 the points advantage for Chris Noble at the moment. 68 the advantage that he enjoys over Matt Distil, and we say that because you can put a line just about through Brendan Grosh, because it doesn't appear as though he's going to be on the grid for the balance of the season due to a change in personal commitments beyond his control. Nick Fodiatis, therefore, sits third effectively, 220 points, 195 for Dave Oliver, 164 for Adam Proctor, 161 for Dale Jeffries, Troy Davidson on 133 and 123 for David Baz, with Liam Reston making up the top 10, 118, effectively Eduardo Zamora 105. But I don't think, with no disrespect intended to Baz, to Davidson, to Reston or Zamora, I don't think they're catching Brendan Grosh, even with that advantage. 309 is the benchmark for Chris Noble. He could put one hand on the title tonight. He starts alongside Matty Still on the front row, who took the pole position away from Noble. Jared Knight, Nick Fodiatis, second row. Guy Leach, Sam Chapman, third row. Dave Oliver, Brett Barker, fourth row. Daniel Yeaman, David Baz, fifth row. Sixth row, Troy Davidson and Martin Lipsky. Adam Johnson has joined the server despite not setting a time. David Baz hasn't joined the grid despite setting a time in qualifying. And we get ready to rock and roll. 12 cars taking to the circuit here. Hopefully David Baz joining from pit lane. As I said from the opener, folks, 2 minutes past 3 server time, 25 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly westerly direction, 18 degrees the ambient, 19 on track, cloudy conditions. It did look very foggy early on, but that has cleared. No rain in sight. We're ready to go racing here. It's a 4.31 kilometre circuit. It's home to the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix. It's leg one of the doubleheader tonight's Waste Options GT3 follows from the Fuji International Speedway in Japan. Yes, we go Oriental on a Monday night. 2 great circuits to get us into the third last week of the term. The third last Monday night that we get to spend together in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Distill, Chris Noble to bring us to the line here to get the green flag, to get the race underway. We project 20 to 21 laps of LMP2 for Spreyton Cider from the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, let's go! Clean start. Chapman up the outside to go to 5th on Guy Leach. That's the big move early on. Fodiatis has tucked into 4th spot. Jared Knight 3rd. Chris Noble 2nd. That is still the leader. So it's status quo at the front. Daniel Yeaman up 2 spots early on after his phenomenal performance on Friday night in the Radicals. And now looking to make a move already. Down the inside. No, won't get it done. I had to have a second look at Guy Leach's livery there momentarily, I have to say.
That's what he's running before. It's a one from the Checkers Online mob. So that's sort of like what their more usual livery is.
It looked a little bit not dissimilar to the Bailey Ladder's Aussie Racer entries, minus the Bailey Ladder logo. That's the other reason I tripped up. Oh, Matt Distill! Matt Distill's in trouble! Matt Distill!
He's going to slow down.
The sponsor of the series, the main man that can take the fight to Chris Noble in the final 3 rounds. He's made a rod for his own back with an early invoice. David Baz has joined the field from pit lane. We have a full complement of 13 out there. Down the casino straight for the first time. This is what happened about Distill. Oh, a spin and a collect from Chris Noble that put him back in the straight narrow. That has cost him a monumental chunk of time. A rare lapse. This is his niche. Matt Distill, this is his playground. And it's rare that we see him slip up. The only thing that has ruled him out of championship contention here has been real-world commitments that have seen him unavailable. He was meant to drop by Josh Zuno's house last Monday night, jump into his rig, but wasn't able to. Commitments derailed that plan, which was a very well thought out one, very well constructed and planned backup plan of attack, for lack of better words, but it wasn't to be. And that's just about put a line through his championship fight, and Chris Noble has one hand on the title, barring a DNF or something sinister. But he's got drop rounds to fall back on, and that's Distill again, losing the back end. Twice at the same corner at as many laps, and Distill's on the tow rope. Distill's parked up and out of business. Can you believe that? Curtains in the championship fight.
The exact same effort twice.
Yeah, I thought we were watching the replay for a moment when I saw it the first time. I was like, hang on, no, that's repeat. Austrian's repeat. Distill's day is done. The first sputter in the works in round 8 of the championship. 3 minutes gone, 2 laps gone. Chris Noble leads from Jared Knight, 1:26.776 the benchmark. And all of a sudden, Nick Fodiatis is eyeing this off as a chance to jump tonight if he can get by Chris Noble here, or if he can get by Jared Knight, I should say. Let's focus on more realistic targets as a potential second in the championship before we leave Canada. We go Oriental next week for this championship. these guys head to Suzuka. Of course, we're off to Fuji tonight, Suzuka next week for LMP2, but Fuji tonight for GT3. And so 2 weeks of Oriental flavour on your Monday night. And then on to Monza for the final round of the championship. So 3 famous Grand Prix circuits playing host to the final 3 rounds of the LMP2 season. 4 minutes gone. Fastest lap of the race for Chris Noble, 1:26.776. Jared Knight well back already, a second behind. Fodiatis 2 seconds back. Under pressure from Guy Leach. Daniel Yeaman has got by Sam Chapman, and we are riding on board with Dave Oliver, who is chasing Chapo at the moment. Brett Barker in behind him. Then Martin Lipsky, Adam Johnson, Troy Davidson and David Baz. Whoa, hold it, Chapo. Well done, son. Well caught, but it's going to cost you the spot. Dave Oliver pounces on that and goes to P6. The tail ends of these cars, these aren't Porsches. What's going on?
It's this car with the aero. Once they get down to a second or a first gear corner, the rear end is very easy to lose in these things.
Troy Davidson, Adam Johnson to pit lane at the end of lap 3. Are they telling us that they can possibly go? Might be a guest showing up next week with the rain. Yeah, good call. I'm hearing you. That's a good plan of attack. Uh-oh. That's why. Johnson and Davidson contact out of turn 9 yet again. That has been the trip up point tonight. Whooshka. Nowhere to go. So Johnson and Davidson on the run to pit lane. Davidson was stationary for 16.68 seconds. Guy Leach has managed to hold off Daniel Yeaman for the moment. Yeaman already up to P5, having got by Oliver and Chapman and Barker and Lipsky. And David Baz has got back up to where he started in 10th, where he was supposed to start before he opted for pit lane. Johnson, Davidson round out the field. Distills out of business. Davidson has actually parked up. He's done as well. So we're down to 11. Short time until early on, opening 6 minutes of round number 4, round number 8, I should say, of the championship. Night 1 of week 8 of term 4. And remember, you missed it in the intro, but we've fixed it now. We will bring you waste options GT3. So on the back of 4 back-to-back sprint weeks and doubling up the intensity on a Monday night, we ease the pressure on the guys somewhat a little bit tonight in GT3 by going back to a familiar format and something that's a little bit more common for them, and that is the longer races. 60 minutes this week, 60 minutes next week, 90 the week after to bring the curtain down on the season. Chris Noble lowers the benchmark again, a 6.57 that time by. So we went 1:26.667 and then 6.57 that time around. Found 100th. So that goes to show the consistency of Chris Noble on show for everybody to see. Leads by a second at the moment. We go to the crane cam there at the hairpin. Now we take the aerial shot. Down the casino straight. Lap 5. As I say, it's a short transit down pit lane here. So, well, if they keep lapping in the 26s and 27s, Chris Noble's going to drag this field potentially to a 21st lap. Based on the fact that if 19.3s are 57 seconds, so that would give you a buffer of 50 seconds to play with for pit lane transit. And whatever you lose on pit lane comes out of the time. And they possibly get back to the start-finish line. There's another mistake for Chapo. They possibly get back to the start-finish line with 10 seconds on the clock. It goes for lap 21. So it could be a slightly longer race tonight.
It's actually, the transit itself's quite long. It's just the fact that this track has a unique pit entrance where the entrance is actually faster than the track itself. As long as you're the car ahead. If you're the car behind, not so much.
No, and the exit completely cuts turn 1. You rejoin at turn 2. That's the quick part of it.
Yes, it's one of those unique ones, kind of like Silverstone, where it actually cuts a bit of the track and takes away some of the pain of the actual transit time in lap times.
Adam Johnson back on pit lane now as well, mate, as well. So there's Daniel Yeaman in 5th place. Sam Chapman has now fallen down to 8th behind Brett Barker as well. You just saw that on replay. Adam Johnson's done for the night. And yet he's sporting my favourite livery of the night. Would have been nice to see that make it to the checkered flag. Huge week 8 here. Third last week of the term and the season at large. Although anyone in Super Formula Light is eyeing off a bit of overtime in week 11. We're back Wednesday, December 11 for the second instalment of the Open Wheel Nationals against our mates from SRW. I believe they're coordinating the broadcast again, but I've been asked to jump in and represent the GSRC in the booth there, as we did back in September. And that will be curtain down on the year that is 2024. Commencement dates for 2025 yet to be confirmed, of course. There's Nick Fodiatis on screen under pressure from Guy Leach and Daniel Yeaman. I'm not sure which one is more of a threat here, because we know the pace that Yeaman brings to the table. Just having a look to see where Guy Leach is in the overall scheme of things here.
It's his first race this season, I think.
That's what I thought, yeah.
He raced a lot last season, but tonight's first this season he's actually dropped in the LMPs.
Quite a few people missing from the grid tonight. I think there'll be a couple of eyes on the GT3 field and the size of that as well tonight, as we make our way down the casino straight once more. This is the end of lap 7 we're coming to now. And again, the battle for third is the closest on the racetrack. Dave Oliver also getting a push along from Brett Barker too, it's important to note. With 3 retirements already, we're down to 10. Here comes Sam Chapman to pit lane. Not the worst field we've ever seen for LMP2. That might have actually taken the cake last week. But Chris Noble leads from Jared Knight, 1.1. Nick Fodiatis is another 3 seconds back. And that's the thing about Nick, he's getting more comfortable with the car, and he's made mention of that in recent times as well. Comfort, bum in seat time, all that sort of stuff. But he's holding his own now. He's at a point where, you've got 2 regularly competitive blokes that are struggling to find their way by. So the performances that Nick is putting in here are becoming slightly more impressive as the season goes on. Just the way in which he's going about his business. He's third best in this field at the moment. 90's bolted 3.2 up the road. The pit stops are going to be a crucial part of this race, but we know that Nick plays the fuel game, will burn the tank and then run it as long as he possibly can, and hope to gain some track position and ground that way. But at the same time, Guy Leach and Daniel Yeaman are tucking in behind and saving a little bit of juice in the long run as well. But still, they can't find a way by. So, it's a combination of A, creature comfort, and B, just his overall general consistency, the way that he plays the game. Doesn't matter what car we throw at him, just as long as it's not at Sebring. And that is heralding the performances that we're seeing from Nick, and a potential podium in the championship coming up, Adam Labus.
I think what it might have a little bit to do with this is Nick's favourite car that he actually, in his downtime, just racing offline against AI, is the Indy car. And this is probably a similar-ish driving style to the Indy car, because it's got a fair bit of aero, but once you get down to those slow speed corners, you've got to rely on the mechanical grip. So you've got to understand where that crossover is to adjust your driving style to suit certain corners. So it's probably a car, that's probably what helps Nick get comfortable in this car. It's sort of similar to one of his favourite cars in the sim. Oh, as he makes a mistake.
Oh, yeah, that's a big moment for Leach, and it's going to open the door up. Daniel Yeaman's going to pounce. Yeaman goes to 4th. 5th position gained in the opening 15 minutes of proceedings here. Yeaman's charge continues, and that probably poses more of a threat now to Fodiatis than what Leach being behind him, directly behind him, did in the first 12 and a half minutes, because we know that Yeaman will want to push on as best he can and open the door up to try to pressure Nick into a mistake, trying to push his way through and then go about closing that 4.5 second deficit that they've racked up to Chris Noble and also Jared Knight. Yeaman, we're riding on board with him now. You might learn a few things here, folks. This is a fairly, despite being heavily immersed in Adam Labus's field of work, with regards to the production of sim racing broadcasts. He's also proven what a solid performer he is when he hits the circuit as well. The best of both worlds. So Martin Lipsky and David Baz coming to pit lane now, and Sam Chapman back out onto the racetrack in 8th place after his stop on lap 7. We're at the end of lap 9. We're on lap 10. We're 16.5 minutes to go. 16 minutes to go, rather. Rounded up. 14 gone, 16 to go. Chris Noble leading the way. You're looking out at Nick Fodiatis from the cockpit of Daniel Yeaman. He would have been delighted with that radical result on Friday night, Adam. I mean, 2 very competitive races at Circuit Navarra. Not everybody's favourite cup of tea, the new Spanish circuit on the server, but what a great night of racing that was, and this is why people are flocking to Friday nights. The radicals, they've got 3 rounds to go, and all of which are going to be must watch.
It was a pretty good combo. I think there was with some of the slower corners there were a bit tricky. I think a couple of the guys learnt the code, and I was in because in qualifying there was a few times there where I feel it's like, how are these guys 2 seconds a lap faster, and you could not figure it out. But it would have been just getting comfortable with the slower speed corners and the way the radical likes to start to lose the rear as well and slide in those sort of corners. So those guys cracked the code and figured that out a bit sooner than the other guys. But the lap times seemed to be a bit more closer during the race, and it was a very hectic night.
Indeed it was. We press on here, and Chris Noble has opened up an advantage of 5.5 seconds. The reason he's been able to do that is because both Jared Knight and Dave Oliver have come to pit lane at the end of lap 10. So half the field stopped, half the field hasn't. Of those that are still left in the race, there are still 10 cars out there circulating. Noble, Fodiatis, Yeaman, Leach and Barker yet to stop. Yeaman pushing Fodiatis along here. Nick last time round punched out his fastest lap of the night, 1:26.666. Yeaman's only been able to punch out a 1:26.905 as his best so far tonight. In comes Chris Noble. What does Nick Fodiatis do? He goes on. So does Daniel Yeaman. In comes Guy Lynch.
Yeah, the guy was the perfect distance there to be able to get to maximise pit entry there. If he was any closer, he would have had to brake earlier to miss the Yeaman, but he was just far enough back to maximise pit entry. Yeaman was in a spot because he was so close to Nick. The undercut sort of hurts him because he's got to actually slow down because Nick's ahead of him. So he sort of, it's one of those tracks where you sort of want to do the overcut because you want the car in front of you to duck off before you do.
Indeed. Yeaman seems content now to just sit in and follow Fodiatis. Although, as soon as I say it, a small moment and a bit of hip and shoulder as well. Fodiatis left the door open momentarily. Yeaman didn't take the invitation. He went for it, and Fodiatis firmly slammed the door shut and said, "Try again, son." That was a hairy moment. All it takes is a slight little bobble. At this speed, at this proximity, and Yeaman has had his first opportunity. And I'm just hearing through my earpiece at the moment that there was an apology from Nick actually saying that he didn't actually see Yeaman there up on his inside. And they are going to push on again and go for lap 13 of the stint to get us to the 20-minute mark. Noble's gone down the middle, stopped at the end of lap 11, 9.7 seconds, 17.91 the margin from him back to Fodiatis, our effective race leader at the moment. Yeaman and Barker, the only two yet to stop now. Jeez, you very rarely see what we just saw. Aggressive hip and shoulder from Nick, just trying to correct the mistake. No harm, no foul for the moment. And Yeaman happy enough to push on and play on. And try again. But again, just further underlining how difficult it is because of the aero of these cars to find a way through. Into the setting sun in Canada we go. Even then it looked like Yeaman was a little unsettled through turn 9, but that has been a common trip up point tonight. 60 minutes around Fuji coming up for those of you joining us for our main course offering tonight, GT3, all thanks to Waste Options. That's coming up 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We've still got 11 and a half minutes to run here in the meantime. And then, of course, next week, the GT3 series, we will bring you the Pro-Am split for the penultimate round of the season. That is from Sebring. And then on to the circuit at Spa-Francorchamps, the recently updated, upgraded Spa-Francorchamps in the iRacing world for the season finale. Here's Jamin. Still following Fodiatis. They're still happy to push on. Back to Chris Noble now. So most of the field decided to stop in the first half of the race, and only the three odd ones out at the front of the field right now, Fodiatis, Jamin and Barker, have said, you know what, no, we're going to go again. We're going to keep on going. We're going to run the tank empty. Interesting tactics at play here. And
interestingly, we just saw, as Noble was going through the kink at turn 1 there, we could see Guy Leach in the background coming on the straight. So there isn't that much of there still isn't that big of a gap back from 90 back to Leachy. So there's only a 4.5 second gap for Noble, for Yeaman and Fodiatis to squeeze back into when they come out of lane here.
Good thing about a Monday night as we approach summer is that we can go around the grounds tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen. And I can tell you, after 12 overs in Hobart, Pakistan started so well, but they have coughed and spluttered their way to be 7 for 93 in the third and deciding, the third and final T20 International between the two teams. Of course, Australia leading that series 2-0, Pakistan winning the ODI component of the multi-format series on Pakistan's white ball tour of Australia 2-1, and Australia fielding their A squad with the test squad already in Perth, ready for Friday's first test against India in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. It's 7 for 93, Pakistan, in front of a healthy crowd at the Blunston Arena in Hobart.
I reckon it's going to be very tight between these two and Guy Leach. It's a
I think you're right.
38 to 40 second transit. And when you're minus some time that it actually takes for the cars to do the track normally, Guy Leach is only 27.5 seconds behind Nick at the moment. So it's going to be a bit tight here on the pit exit.
They've been very happy to lead from the front and just push on. They are 6.6 seconds clear of Brett Barker. 20 back to Chris Noble. Noble's got this one, surely, if he doesn't make a mistake. Yeaman is pushing Fodiatis all the way. He gets a chance now. He has a sniff down the outside. Down the outside. Yeaman to try around the outside of Fodiatis to go to the effective lead. And Fodiatis shot the door first up and then let him go. He had no choice. Yeaman around the outside. Goes to the lead.
What helped Yeaman there is this car's got a very tall first gear, and obviously they happen to be first gear. And Nick being on a tighter line, he wouldn't be able to get on the throttle as early, and Yeaman would have gotten the boost earlier and had that bunch of speed.
Wonder if we'll get a wet or dry race in Fuji. Kurt, your question is a good one and valid, and I'm not sure. I'm wondering the very same thing as we sit here getting ready to load the Fuji server in about half an hour's time. Yeaman and Fodiatis to pit lane. Almost out of the pit lane before they even hit their box. Barker in as well. Field cleansed at the end of lap 15. There goes Noble. Yeaman's gone. Yeaman's gone. Fodiatis stayed there a couple of seconds longer. Yeaman is gone. Can Yeaman get Leach? Yes, he can. Fodiatis will as well. Despite that extra couple of seconds, he got out of Barker, got out in front of him and held him at bay. But Yeaman is the effective winner. They're up 6 spots now. 1 in the pit transit. Currently soaked Pracky, but can't see the race forecast in the server yet for Pro-Am is the word from Kurt. Do you want to offer any insight here, Adam Davis?
Well, I had a quick look. It was a very, very small, like only a 15 to 20% chance of rain for practice. So Pro-Am's got very unlucky there. Looks dry for qualifying, and the race has got like maybe a 5 to 10%, if that. So you'd have to be very unlucky to get some rain. It might get a spit or a little thing, but to get actual proper rain, you'd be very unlucky, I think, tonight. It's only a very small chance.
Excellent. And will be interesting to see what offers up, what is offered up weather-wise when we get to Sebring next week for Pro-Am. And then, of course, on to Spa for the finale. And if you're not gambling on weather there, then you don't know us well enough, because we've seen that was where the Tempest weather system made its debut on the platforms of the GSRC. Look at Fodiatis fighting now for fourth and trying to hold on to it for the life against Guy Leach. Closing laps here.
Nick, of the guys who I'm assuming didn't take tyres, he actually has the slowest pit stop, which is very unlike Nick. He normally likes to save a bit of fuel and get that. But yeah, he's got a high mid 11, and I think Sam with a lower 11 is the only other person 11. Everyone else has got 10 or a 9-second stop. So maybe a slight miscalculation there by Nick or something. But setting back now, he's got a fight with Leachy on his hands.
I'm a little bit like Josh Zuno, but I'm a bit worried about his spelling. I think he spelt Canadian Club wrong. But I do like Canadian in my cup. And shame to not see you out there on the racetrack, mate. Good evening to you.
And
nice
so
to have you aboard.
And so much for 90's quiet night.
Yes, yeah, exactly. 90's under pressure now from Daniel Yeaman. So Yeaman, the big winner out of the pit sequence, now applying the blowtorch to Jared Knight in the closing stages. Chris Noble's out of reach, 3 seconds to the good. Yeaman won't catch him even if he does get by here. Now, keep an eye on the clock, folks. I think we very easily get back to the line and get 4 laps to go. It says 5 minutes on the clock, and we're beyond that 4.5-minute threshold for 3. So it's 4 laps from here. We will do some overtime. Let's go. And about a minute's worth of it. Bondi from the AM server is telling me that it is wet for practice for those guys. Knight under pressure from Yeaman. And Fodiatis under pressure from Leach. Daniel Yeaman has just punched out the fastest lap of the race, 1:26.462. What about that from Yeaman? Magnificent stuff. Knight, Yeaman, Fodiatis, Leach, Oliver, Barker, Chapman, Baz and Lipsky, the top 10. Yeaman to the outside. It's worked for him once already tonight. Will it work a second time? What can Jared Knight do here in defence? He keeps him at bay for the moment, but again, a little bit of a bobble on the run. Out of 9. Unsettled Knight. Yeaman with the up and under, got the run, goes to the outside. Can he make it work again? He made it work once again, Nick Fodiatis. Jared Knight not going to make it so easy for him, but he has no choice. Yeaman is through. Yeaman's up to second. If it works once, it'll work twice. And now Knight looks to respond on the inside down the casino straight. Can he get him back on the brakes on the run to the final corner? Yes, he can. And Yeaman has to do all the hard work again. What a move from Jared Knight. Brave and bold. Brilliant stuff. That's what we like to see. 90 fighting for dear life to hold on a second with 3 laps to go. Fodiatis is in 4, still holding off Guy Leach. Retirement so far for Johnson, Davidson and Distill. Lipsky could well end up being an issue here as lap traffic. We will wait and see. He had the longest stop of anyone, 24.17 seconds. Baz, Chapman, Barker, Oliver, 9th, 8th, 7th and 6th respectively. The battles are for 2nd and 4th. Now can Yeaman find a way? Much better run out of 9 that time by for Knight.
So I just had a closer look at the GT3 server. I've worked out why it's wet in the start. So when you first open it up, the first thing you see is a 25% chance of rain during practice, dropping down to a 4% chance by the end of practice. So I think it's on a downward spiral. So it looked low. But then as soon as you actually look a little bit to the left, 1 hour before practice was 97% rain. So it was that'd be why it was wet to start practice, but it should be drying out for him. And yeah, and then race. Oh, Yeaman! He's just touched the wall there.
Wow. And I was just turning the microphone off to try and clear my throat. I didn't even get a chance to do that. That is the get out of jail free card for Jared Knight. A rare, the only mistake we've seen all night from Daniel Yeaman.
Looks like he might have got away with it. He's going to go very minor scratch. Yeah, a little bit of fender bender on that front guard. But other than that, hopefully steering straightening is still going. Yeah, and as for the race, the race starts with a 2% and ends with a 6% chance to rain. So very, very small chance.
So slim to FA is what you're saying. Copy. And Chris Noble, Jared Knight and Daniel Yeaman. It's 0.7 now, Knight to Yeaman. That was the move of the season from 90 at the end of the last lap. Here comes Guy Leach on Nick Fodiatis now. Leach has got the run. Will he go to the outside? No, he'll go to the inside. Will he get through? No, he backs out under brakes. Fodiatis a little bit wide through the corner, but he gathered it up. Yeaman will try and get back by Knight. We'll watch Leach and Fodiatis in the meanwhile. Leach will try to take a leap out of Yeaman's book. No, Fodiatis closes the door. And here comes Dave Oliver as well. White flag will be in the air this time by. One more time around at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. Let's go.
Well, you say
Noble to the white flag.
You say that, but Bunny's in the crowd.
Of course he is.
He's having a chill out and having a bit of a signing session.
What is this prick doing? Like every time we go to a racetrack where there's a designated flag stand, he's nowhere to be seen.
And Leachy just did a similar swing to him in there. Just got a little champion scrape. It's a little bit less than Yemen, so he should be still good. So battle for podium is on.
It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Oh, sorry, for fourth place, not 30, podium.
Noble, Knight, Yeaman, Fodiatis, Leach, Oliver, Barker, Chapman. We continue to watch the laps count down, the time tick down. We've gone beyond the 30-minute marker now. And this sets us up nicely for a main course at the Fuji International Speedway. Chris Noble puts one hand on the title tonight. Jared Knight still has a bit of work to do, fending off Daniel Yeaman. Fodiatis holding on for dear life against Guy Leach. Yeaman, Fodiatis, Leach, Oliver, Barker. Barker to the inside, no. The outside! Oliver to the outside of Barker, he couldn't make it work. The up and under on the exit, not the way to go. Chris Noble has one hand on back-to-back Spreyton Cider LMP2 Challenge titles, clinical and commanding in Canada. Second to Knight, third to Yeaman, barely a quarter of a second in that. Well done, Jared Knight. Good fight in the end. Solid hustle. Now, Nick's out of fuel. Is he?
No, I think there's been a move made.
Wow, Barker and Oliver pip Fodiatis at the line. Can you believe that? We need another look here. Oliver,
Nick's got the grass.
Barker. Nick got the grass.
And slow down. Slow down.
The dreaded slow down brings him undone. It'll be Barker. Sorry, it'll be Leach. It'll be Oliver and Fodiatis, then Barker. Then Chapman, Baz and Lipsky, the finishing order. My goodness gracious me. Fodiatis had one hand on fourth and let it slip in the final corner. Yeaman finishes with the fastest lap of the race. 1:26.169. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. What about the two moves from Daniel Yeaman? Up the outside at the hairpin. And the one place on the racetrack where you wouldn't necessarily think it'd work in most cars, he made it work. The only comparison I was able to draw whilst I was, going at 120 dB was it's a bit like failed relationships, right? When you hear of someone getting back with their ex, well, it didn't work the first time. What makes you think it's going to work the second? The reason why Yeaman went for it the second time was because it worked the first time. But Jared Knight had better ideas second time round, letting him through.
Aerial view actually does show that bump on the front right of Yeaman is actually a bit more stimulating than I thought. It's actually the front of his car's at a bit of a diagonal there.
So
he's got lucky there.
He'll be limping that one back to the line. He's done well to salvage third in all of that. But the interesting thing for mine is in all of that, you look at the results board here. It's Noble from Knight, 3.3 the margin. Yeaman, 3.5. So it was only, as we say, quarter of a second, barely, that in the end. At 0.20 according to our timesheets. Guy Leach and Dave Oliver, there was 0.067 in that. And then Fodiatis has been relegated with the slowdown. So Nick's been severely smacked over the knuckles for not serving his slowdown, and he's going to come home in 9th, and that has serious implications with regards to the points haul he would have taken away from tonight. Because what's a race win worth these days, Adam?
Show them on the screen.
There it is, 60. Yep. So Nick with only.
So he's lost 6 points. So he was gonna if he basically got on the brakes and cleared his slowdown, he would have got 6 for 40 points. But he's lost a few spots, but now he's only got 34. So that's cost him 6 points in the championship.
It has, and just having a look at it there, so 34.
Oh, well,
it will still clear him. It will still clear him over the top of Brendan Grosh and Matt Distill.
Yeah, so the slowdowns cost him 6, but the mistakes cost him 10 total.
Yeah. Yes. Because he won't get the 0x. So unlucky. What is interesting though is that with the fact that Distill and Grosh don't have slowed drop rounds to fall back on. Sorry, I'm getting tripped up here by my own sentence structure. Nick will still find his way to second tonight. So no harm, no foul there. But Chris Noble does bolt exceptionally clear in the points race and essentially puts one hand on the title tonight. And probably two fingers as well. He'll wrap it up next week. I reckon a dead rubber on the horizon for the entree on a Monday night in a fortnight's time. And maybe the main course as well when we have a look at how far ahead of the competition. Don't cheers on everybody in Waste Options GT3 Pro. Sam Chapman joins us in Central Commentary. Started 6th, finished 8th. A little bit of drift work, and you weren't the only one to trip up at the second of the chicanes there, mate.
Mate, I tripped up all over the track tonight, I think. It was, it was not a combo I could get a handle on very quickly. Thought I'd jump in because I had free time tonight, but, I think the curbs around here are pretty tough with this car, so trying to work out exactly how much you can take was pretty difficult, and, I'd love to throw you around, so a bit of a wobbly night, but stayed on the road, so I'll take that.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Hey, the challenges of this track and this car, it wasn't lost on anybody because, as Adam Laver said, those first and second gear corners end up being a little bit of an issue for these cars. And when Matt Distill's tripped up twice on the same corner, you know that there's a fair degree to the challenge, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it was really tricky just to keep that rear end in line. And and those first gear corners, there are obviously a lot of first gear corners around here, and it's a really long first gear. So what is it, before the casino straight there? That one was, I was losing a lot of time there because I think I was probably V'ing it a little bit too much, and then you don't get enough speed out of it at all. It was tricky, and it was easy to lose that rear. But with this, because you've got the TC, you can sort of just brake and downshift and try and catch it back, but you just lose time in the process. So also, I mean, it's a strong field. Like, these guys are fast. They're pretty strong on pace up ahead. So fun but tough.
All right, what's the plan of attack for GT3, which is coming up in just a few moments?
Well,
sorry, Chapo, I've got no hope of hearing you.
You got no hope of hearing me?
That's better. That's better.
Okay.
Whatever you were doing a few seconds ago, it was coming through like Morse code.
Okay, all right. Well, that's probably for the best. You don't want to hear me yap too much anyway, right? But I'll lean a little bit closer to the microphone. We'll do some adjustments here.
There we go.
I need a permanent sound guy, I think. Zach, but
well, the guy above you in the booth might be able. Actually, the two blokes above you in the booth might be able to help you with that.
No, that's true. We've got two experts. Well, I mean, if it's just adjusting the microphone a bit in front of your face, I probably should know how to work that one out on my own. But nevertheless, simple man. So,
talk to me about Fuji.
Talk to me about Fuji. So, it looks wet, but I think it'll be dry by the time the race comes around. So, I don't know, it'll be an interesting case. There's a fair bit of fuel to save around Fuji, but I don't think will be enough to do a one-stop feasibly. Looking at the fuel on it, I haven't really done the math yet, but yeah, we'll see. I did the Fuji 8-hour on the weekend. Did pretty well coming back from 39th to 10th. So we've done a few laps, but oh no, 11th. I'll take that back. It was 11th. But yeah, we'll see. I haven't really been in it this season, so I have no idea what the pace is looking like.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. We might chat to you at the end of
chat to someone more important
GT3 and find out exactly how that all fared for you. Looking forward to watching the pro race in just a few moments as well. Go well, mate. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
We'll do our best. Daniel Yeaman, good evening to you. A fairly entertaining night in the cockpit. Different challenge to the Radical around Circuit de Navarra on Friday night, but equally in your wheelhouse. And I don't know exactly what the issue might or might not have been in qualifying. You might be able to elaborate on that for us, but you raced hard, you raced well, and a couple of very solid overtaking manoeuvres, one falling just marginally short of the mark, and one wall scrape which left a little bit of evidence on the side of the car as well, but you're all still able to keep 90 honest and bring it home in third place. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Unfortunately tonight, I got in for practice and then bounced out to have dinner, so then jumped back in and halfway through quali already. So got something on the board that was rough, but it would do rather than starting right at the back. Unfortunately, it's a little case of being impeded on my second flying lap attempt because it happened after the checkered flag had been thrown. I think it's unfortunately Nick was up in front of me and just was doing his own thing and just missed me coming up behind him at full pace. So a little further back than I would have liked to start, but still would have had to find the pace mid-race to even have a hope of really challenging as I did there. So thankfully it came together and just saved some fuel, gained some time in the pits, and then had a crack at Jared there. Made sure to back out at the chicanes. It did turn out that was the right call to make. Just couldn't get back to him in time before the end.
Yep. One little bit of hip and shoulder with the guy that's just joined us in the booth as well, Nick Fodiatis. But in saying that, one small mistake, you're probably lucky that the Wall of Champions didn't bite you harder.
Yeah, 100%. A couple of times through there, just grabbing the second of the apex curbs with the left side tyres just upsets the car a lot through there. So it was just a case of having to really mind myself and be patient with the car. Looking at it though, a fair few drivers were pretty comfortable taking the first apex curb, and to an extent they could get the second if they were careful with the power. So definitely a case of not really having enough preparation for this one, and I couldn't maximise things in some respects. But nevertheless, it was a very brief scrape with Nick as well, when I just sort of had a half a look and then thought not to go for it then and wait for a better chance.
And I noticed that you two played the fuel game rather beautifully. 15 laps in the opening stint, a small splash and dash for the run to the checkered flag. The next two Monday nights, how do they look for you? Will we see you on the grid when we get to Suzuka next week, and even, of course, the week after Monza?
Unfortunately, next Monday is out with other broadcasting commitments at SimSpeed TV, but 2 weeks' time, it all clears up. So if nothing else comes up for me away from the sim, should be good to see me in 2 weeks' time.
The sim broadcasting year, far from done. It's keeping you rather busy at the moment. We know, of course, Scott's commitments as well, front and centre. So hopefully we'll see you in a fortnight, mate. Well done again. Nice performance, up 6 spots. And as a little bit of bonus incentive on the way out the door, the fastest lap of the race on the final lap, you've done a Matty Dench.
It came together quite nicely. I think the tow would definitely have helped there quite a bit, but just in my attempt to catch Jared there, tried to put everything right and seemed to do so across the course of that lap.
I love how Nick was able to let you go after you made the move on him around the outside at the hairpin, but Nighty was more than willing to force the issue. He wasn't letting you have it a second time.
No, not at all. I was kind of grateful I was able to get in front of Nick there, because then I could set the tempo going into the pits there. Given I didn't really know what I needed to do, I hopefully didn't check Nick up too hard when we came in to the pits on that lap, because I noticed he's getting closer, so I knew I was a little short of a full attack.
Well, you still managed to pip him in the pit lane and get out in front of Guy Leach, which proved rather important in the greater scheme of things, mate. Well done. Go well. Enjoy the week, and good luck with the broadcasting as well.
Thank you very much, and all the best to you guys here as well.
another busy week. Week 8 of term 4. Up and away. There he is, Daniel Yeaman. Very nicely done. Nick Fodiatis, welcome to you. Good evening. Well done for the first 30 minutes and 25 seconds or whatever it was. Unfortunately, the last corner has handed you a fairly hefty invoice. Thankfully, not too costly in the greater scheme of things with regards to the championship. I think you'll still find yourself second in the points table tonight going into the final couple of rounds, but it looks as though Chris Noble's almost out of reach, out of sight, out of mind. Yeah, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. 370 points placed, 252. Holy moly. That's 118 points to the good, ladies and gentlemen, and only 120 left on offer for race wins. So Noble's as good as home. He wins it next week and comes back just to put the icing on the cake the week after.
It's actually 150 the last round's of 0 points.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Have we got a slightly longer race in the last week?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
Okay, so I've got to be here 15 minutes. Okay, copy that.
Make sure I shout out before and after.
Yes, I probably should have even looked at that. 45 minutes, okay. So 150, but essentially, Chris Noble wins this next week, ladies and gentlemen, barring something very untoward unfolding at Suzuka in the rain. Nick second on 252, 246 there for Brendan Grosh, 243 for both Dave Oliver and Matt Distill now making up the top 5, and forget about everybody else. They're out of sight, out of mind, out of reach. Nick, talk me through that from your perspective, please.
Look, the Bailey Ladders car and myself, we actually go well around here. It's just the nut behind the wheel dropped the ball in the latter half of the race. And then big apologies to Daniel Yeaman, because I held him up at the end of qualifying there. I didn't even realise, and I had to get... I went down and had a chat to Greg, and he showed me. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even know. So I wasn't even thinking, not even looking. So biggest apologies to him, because it's not my intent. As for the race, yeah, just setting the pace. Those guys are just creeping away, and then I cooked tyres on this thing, and just slowly but surely they were going from like a tenth a lap, 2 tenths a lap, and slowly blew out to half a second a lap, and I had the conga line in behind me. So yeah, it was an interesting race. Daniel got a good run out of that back chicane down into the hairpin, and then because this first gear is so tall, and going around the outside, he's got the straighter steering wheel, and he just got the run off the corner there. I was like, all right, cool. And then straight into the pits. But yeah, it was a tough one at the end there. And then I find it hard, especially with a lot of noise in my radio and Discord. I find it hard myself to concentrate, and unfortunately, right in the brake zone on that final corner, final brake zone on the final lap, screwed up and then went across the curbs. And yeah, I finished on the road. I finished behind Dave Oliver there in 6th, yep. But it penalised me because I didn't clear the penalty before the start-finish line. So poo-poo to you, iRacing.
Yeah, it's dropped you down to 9th, which is unfortunate. But in saying that, I mentioned during the call that there were a couple of things that I was noticing with you. One, your ongoing, strive for consistency, but also the way in which you've, continually come to grips with this car. Although that was a little moment that was a little bit hairy. That's a perfect
example of what was happening. Yeah,
exactly. Both of those two things have contributed to your competitiveness tonight. You were third there for the longest time. Sure. Guy got the better of you, and Daniel got the better of you in the end, and Dave as well. But for the most part there, you were fourth quickest on the track tonight.
Well, yeah, the first surprise of the night was seeing a car sideways out of that second lap chicane on the run down to the hairpin.
Yeah.
So, oh, you beauty, I'm up into the third. And then, just this conga line forming up behind me here. So I was watching it. It seemed to me everybody else was faster than me. So everybody else could catch me at will, but I was in a good rhythm up until the pit stops, basically. So yeah. Anyway. Give and take, it is what it is. What else can I say?
That's right.
You just got to roll with it. I was hoping that it would be a dry race in this one because it was looking pretty foggy, and obviously practice sessions were a bit wet. So we'll see how we go. If Suzuka's wet, well, who knows? That could be my drop round. It's not fun in this car.
Well, I was going to say, what's the key now to holding on and securing second in the title? Because as I say, it's basically a race for second. Noble's gone, out of sight, out of mind.
Well, I mean, yeah, just keep getting the points. I mean, I've got to have a drop round anyway, so I might as well take it if there's a full wet race out of the last 2 races, because I'm not the biggest fan of TC. I'm not the biggest fan of ABS. Just give me a raw vehicle to drive. I was even saying it to Greg just before, about 3 times coming up to the Wall of Champions, it cut your power because it's going sideways, but unfortunately in this particular car on a fixed setup, you cannot adjust anything. And I'd turn off traction control for sure because, IndyCar, I've done it many a time. You slide out towards the wall, you got handfuls of opposite lock, but you keep your foot buried and she's good. So, I don't know. Just got to keep turning up, but I got to try not to overdrive, as you saw I just did there in that corner.
Indeed. All right, mate. Hey, very nicely done, and good work on the podcast yesterday as well. If you haven't already, folks, go and check it out via the GSRC YouTube page. Business end of the season. You must be looking forward to A, the end of it, and B, the break that follows.
Well, it's not exactly the end for me because I've still got to organise the Race of Champions, which is coming up. There is the final send-off of the V8 supercar.
Yes.
There's that as well. Also am pushing to try and get the final round of the Mountain Men fully advertised, participated in, broadcasted, commentated, the lot, because I feel that'll be a good send-off into Christmas. And then we've still got to organise, I guess it's Joe and I believe Sam Strider organising the Christmas stuff, and then I'm going to go and do Richard Burns Rally for the rest of the year.
Let's have a chat offline about a couple of those things very quickly before you shoot through for the night, mate. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
He'll stay here in the booth with Adam Lavis and I. It's Spreyton Cider and Waste Options Monday night motorsport for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, all made possible thanks to Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Bowen's the Builder's Choice, JJZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, M-Wave Australia and Flash Graphics. So huge thanks to all of those people that make it possible for us to do what we do here. There it is, the golf clap. Is that for par, birdie or eagle? I'm not sure. Hey, speaking of which, Australian PGA Championship coming up this week on the beautiful golf course up here in Queensland, and looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. Of course, you can see it on the Wide World of Sports from Thursday. I believe it's up on the Sunshine Coast, but I might be wrong. Now, on that subject as well, innings break in the cricket in Hobart. Pakistan rolled for 117, Australia chasing 118 for victory in a clearing sweep of the series ahead of the Indian Test match series getting underway on Friday. LMP2 done with thanks to Spreyton Cider. A break and back to Fuji on the other side we go. And to Waste Options GT3 Pro, the 8th round of the season, the third last round of the campaign, and a return to a single race format. 60 minutes on the clock when we get underway at 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Come back and join us for that. Monday Night Motorsport on the GSRC platform. Stay with us. Night 1 of week 8 of term 4, continuing forward on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. We zero in after starting the night out on the Ile Notre Dame and the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Quebec. In Montreal, Canada, we make our way over to the Fuji Speedway in Oyama, Japan. We go Oriental on a Monday night in the main course slot for the first time this season. We go to the Fuji Speedway and we bring you Waste Options GT3. And for the first time since round 3, it's just the single race format in play tonight. We've enjoyed the intensity and the hustle and bustle of the 4 back-to-back weeks of sprint racing, ladies and gentlemen, but we're now back into the wheelhouse of GT3 racing at large, the mini enduro format. 95% humidity. A very, very slim chance of rain at this venue tonight. We'll have a look at the updated weather settings once the server ticks over into race mode. Partly cloudy conditions, 4.48 kilometres, the Grand Prix configuration in Japan there. And this is, of course, the venue that played host to the 2007 and 2008 Japanese Grand Prix. And we are running the chicane configuration tonight there on the back straight. There are some good overtaking opportunities around here, particularly turn 1 and turn 3. And then you got to work for the rest of it, I'd say. It's going to be a fairly tough old night if you're driving anything other than a McLaren or a Ferrari, it would seem, ladies and gentlemen. Championship points as we venture into this round. Denci's already got one hand on the title. He's 87 points clear. He only needs to be 110 clear by the end of next week's round from Sebring, and he'll have a title in the kitty once more. It'll be his 12th GT3 crown, in fact. So there's a distinct chance that we'll be bringing you a dead rubber Monday night to start grand final week, and it's very rare that we do that. Not so much in GT3, but certainly in the entree slot. Denci leads, Richard Mitchum is second, 261. Then we go back to Oscar Gliss at 242, 223 for Shane Clancy, Mark Gomez 209. And back to Nick Wood on 193, Lewis Greathead 189, Dane Snowden 176, and Daniel Benefield 167, with Drew Hanstein on 163, making up the top 10. And that's 3 manufacturers only in the top 10, but only one in the top 8, ladies and gentlemen. The grid, we can tell you that there's no rain on the radar. No rain at all. Partly cloudy conditions for this race as we have a look at the grid for you now. And Matty Dench has taken yet another pole position from our Thursday night motorsport commentary colleague, Daniel Benefield. 1 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Japanese standard time there for you is the server settings. 24-kilometre-an-hour winds in a mostly southwesterly direction, 19 degrees the ambient, 22 on track, 79% that humidity marker, only 0.056 between Dench and Benefield. That's 1 lap pace. Let's see what race pace is like. Greathead McLaughlin second row, McLaren Ferrari, then 2 full rows of McLarens. Richard Mitchum, then Woods from row 3, Shane Clancy, Rick Vincent from row 4. Great to see Rick Vincent back. Then Jared Ambrose for Australia-wide racing in the first of the Lambos on row 5 alongside Jai Potts. Nick Wood is on the 6th row alongside Eli Donaldson, the all-twitchy foot 6th row. Oscar Gliss, Cam Culverwell the 7th, then Dave Johnson and Dave Riddell in the first of the Porsches, the 8th row. Daniel Piper, Drew Hanstein's BMW, the 9th row. Jared Knight in the Merc, and Thomas Foster in the Ferrari on the 10th row. Dane Snadden, Sam Chapman from 11. Then John Wright, Russ Green from 12. Hammond, Mikey Hammer Time Hammond alongside Glenn Arnold on row 13. Chip Fung Wong, David Christensen, Andrew Neal and Dale Sharp make up the field. McLaren, Ford, Audi, Porsche, Ferrari, Mercedes, BMW and Lamborghini all represented in this field tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 30 cars, 8 manufacturers out there on the racetrack. The only notable absentee, Adam Lavis, the Corvette, the Chev, nowhere to be seen. All the love for all the other manufacturers, including some that we haven't seen in the main server for a while.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, 8 out of 9. It's the most we've had in it for a while. So, unfortunately, we couldn't quite get the full complement. But, good mix, given that we've had a fairly McLaren-heavy
season. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a season that's encompassed 11 different races so far across 7 different venues. Now we work our way. Oh, trouble on the formation lap. Ben Woods, is it? No, it's not. It's not Woodsy. Who's come unstuck on the formation lap? My goodness gracious me. Dave Duddell. Oh boy. He will be out of formation for the start here. He's off the circuit. He's not rejoined just yet. He's still off the track, and it's going to cause a little bit of trouble off the start here as everybody tries to get back into formation, into position, to link up with Denchi to get the into line to be in touch with the race leader when this race gets underway and in some sort of 2x2 formation. Denchi will bring them down this enormously long main straight here in Japan. That looks better. We're back into position. Into formation, lined up, ready to rock and roll. Dave Daddell still parked up side of the road. That could cause an issue in the early stages. There will be yellow flag as we get this race underway. And get it underway we do. Denchi hits the gas and gets going. Right over the championship race. 12 for the campaign. Let's go. No mucking around from Denchi. Off the line beautifully. Jared Ambrose has been swamped off the start. Down the outside. Have a look at that. To turn 1. 4th place, that was Sean McLaughlin in the Ferrari. Hanging on to 4th for dear life. Dench has one hand on the title, but Daniel Benefield's opting to keep him honest tonight. Great headed slotted into 3rd place. McLaughlin and Mitchum the top 5. Woods, Clancy, Vincent. Dave Duddell has now been able to get to pit road, thankfully. And we can race full tilt on the opening lap. So it was interesting there because obviously Dench was alerted to the incident, so he was able to, as the pace setter, control things and allow the field that fair opportunity to get back into rhythm and get back into sync and get back into formation. It could have been a very uneven, unbalanced sort of start had he not done that. So good sportsmanship there from Dench to allow the field to bunch back up before they hit the gas and got going. Daniel Benefield going with him. It could well be a night where Ferrari comes to the fore. And not for the first time this season have we seen Daniel Benefield in a competitive position. Last time, however, it was the Brickyard in the McLaren. That is David Christensen pointing the wrong way in the only Audi in this field. Round up onto the main straight. Thomas Foster, 3 wide. Chapman on the... Oh, geez. Chapman and Knight. There's nothing in that. Chapman's on the outside, Knight's on the inside. And already we've had some issues with timing, which is going to upset the rhythm a little bit here. It's currently showing Daniel Betterfield, Lewis Greathead and David Johnson as a lap down. That shouldn't be the case. Don't worry too much about that at the moment. You know that Daniel Betterfield is still the race second place runner at the moment. Now look at this, Thomas Foster in 18, pushing the issue on the inside of Dane Snadden. Snadden holds on for now. A frantic start at the Fuji Speedway. And now around the outside goes Rick Vincent to 6th. Nice to see Rick Vincent back in the server, Adam Lavis. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Usually we only see Paz representing the Rogue Sim Sports, but good to see we got a blue version rather than Paz's grey, black and gold. So a little bit of colour on there, and straight back into the top 10 for old Ricky. So good work.
Dench, McLaughlin, and Mitchum, Woods, Clancy, Vincent, Donaldson, Potts, and Wood. The top 9. And Cam Culverwell is trouble and gone! Shy Potts! Round the wrong way. And plummeting down the running order. Dave Daddell's night is done. He's parked up and out of proceedings. David Johnson, Lewis Greathead, Daniel Betterfield still showing a lap down, and I'm none the wiser as to why. As we cross the start-finish line and get lap number 2 done. There it is. Order has been restored and corrected, thankfully. There'll be a few people breathing a sigh of relief there, not least Daniel Betterfield and Lewis Greathead. That was a rare and weird and random glitch to see 3 cars have that happen to them after the opening lap. David Christensen, the last of the runners. John Wright is for Whiskey Business Racing. There you go. There's another recruit for Whiskey Business, John Wright. Jai Potts there in 27th place. Also without a team assigned to him at the moment. Down 17 spots. That spin was costly from McLaren up at the second to last corner. Now we go back to Rick Vincent under pressure here from Eli Donaldson. And Donaldson tries to go through and force the issue and does so. Gets done through beautifully. Cam Culverwell is the next target that'll be eyeing off Rick Vincent, because Nick Wood and Eli Donaldson went straight around the outside of, well, one went to the outside, one went to the inside of Vincent for Rogue Sim Sports. So McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren then locks out the next 7 positions down to 11th. Jared Ambrose got first to the Lambos in 12th. Fiercely Ford, 9.5 for Million, HTS and Twitchy Foot. 5 different teams in the top 5 at the moment. In fact, there's 4 Twitchy Foot entries in the top 10. There are 7 different teams in the top 10 at this point. McLaughlin the fastest lap of the race. McLaughlin 139.985, and Dench now betters that with a 139.864. For some reason, Adam Laver, so I wasn't getting a purple box on my screen, I was only getting green. Not sure what's going on there. Matty Dench leads. Daniel Betterfield, Lewis Great ahead, Sean McLaughlin and Richard Mitchum, the top 5. They're flirting with the off-track limits at 1 as well. And a solid start for Denchy, and our good mate from Thursday Night Motorsport, Daniel Betterfield, keeping him honest at the moment.
And the other thing too, that like they literally look at the timing tower. There's only three white gaps there, all the way down to almost 30th. So at the moment, it is basically a full snake. Now, also the other thing too is we've seen in the past, Fuji is one of those tracks. It's a little bit nice on the fuel tank, so there has been a little bit of a skim to the regular 60-minute level. Instead of 38%, they've only got 35. So hopefully that sort of disincentivizes the guys trying to sneak in the one stop. But yeah, it should still be very interesting to see how the strategy turns out in this race.
Continue in a line astern freight train sort of manner. Nick Wood to the inside, gets by Eli Donaldson, moves to 8th. Moves are plenty in the opening 4 laps at the Fuji International Speedway. Oh, Dale Sharp, undone in the McLaren. How many of these guys will be getting to the end of the season in the McLaren and then just looking back to their old favourite, comfortable, you know, reliable machines?
Well, as I said,
Sharpie would be the BMW.
Well, as was, excuse me. That's what we were sort of saying with the lower split, especially in the AM split. Although, with a bit of door in there.
Hip and shoulder from Rick Vincent on Nick Wood. So Wood lost out firstly to Donaldson and then to Rick Vincent. Yeah. Vincent actually fancies his charts up on the outside of Donaldson now as well.
Yeah, they're doing trend.
Oh, Rick Vincent, sorry, Adam, around the outside. What about that for commitment? Have a look at this. And Cam Culverwell's now joined the fight as well. Go for it, mate.
Hey, Ricky's like, remember me, boys? So, he's gone wide, though. He's bowled it.
He has,
unfortunately,
fluffed it, gone. So first the mistake, then the contact, then the wall. Well, it was entertaining while it lasted. And Nick Wood and Oscar Glissett now. Nick Wood's lost out. Oscar Glissett's gone through. Cam Culverwell's gone through. Jared Ambrose fancies his chances as well in the Lambo. Oh, it's all happening in the early stages here. Is that David Johnson of the Ferrari? Yes, it is. In behind him, the distinct red and yellow is a giveaway.
Now, I'm not sure if it's just David hasn't got the livery or whether he's still part of HTS, but he's just running a factory Ferrari flying colours tonight. Oh, who was that? That was Oscar got the Twinkie there. Twinkies are
savage. They are savage at this circuit.
Yeah, Fuji, the Twinkies are bad. Stay away from those. They say Twinkies never expire, but these ones are definitely bad.
So you're right, Rick Vincent was very quick to say, hey boys, remember me, and then unfortunately just got a little bit too flirtatious and a bit too eager and keen with it, and off he went. And unfortunately, the door from, I think it was Nick Wood in the end, finished him off. Oh, dive bomb, trouble. The Mercedes trying to get through on the inside. That was Jared Knight. It worked for him earlier in the LMP2. Not so here. Greathead now the fastest lap of the race. 139.663. Dench, Bannerfield, Greathead, McLaughlin, Mitchum, the top 5. It's all happening here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Rick Vincent to pit lane.
It looks like SDK is triggering an off-track on that second apex for that long sweeper. I'm not sure if it's an actual off-track or whether it's one of those SDK SPA type ones, but that seems to be where it's flashing on our timing screens.
You must be looking forward to the updated SPA as much as I am, in the sense that we won't be seeing off-track alerts all through the night. I hope.
Well, we hope, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But theoretically, it should be nice and fresh.
Should be good. Now, trouble, gone! Missed who it was, didn't catch the reg on it. Nick Wood for Twitchy Foot. On lap 6, as we head towards the end of the 10-minute mark, 1 minute 40 a lap time around here, folks, and a long pit lane transit as well. So be mindful of that. 1 minute 40 a lap gives us 6 laps every 10 minutes, which theoretically gives us 36. Will we only get to 35 because the pit lane transit tonight? Only time will tell. The numbers are relatively simple. 35, 36 is your bingo card.
It is a fairly lengthy transit and a very tricky pit entry with a dicky little chicane. And once the chicane, it tempts you to try and go as fast as possible, but then the yellow cone is right after it. So you got to get it right and on the brakes hard. Otherwise, it's very easy to trigger a slap on the wrist.
Now, update from the Blunston Arena in Hobart. Australia 1 for 30 in 3.2 overs. Jake Fraser McGurk going gangbusters at the moment out there with Josh Inglis 1 for 30 in response to Pakistan's all-out 117. So the Aussies not wasting any time in getting the job done in this third T20 International. Of course, the summer of cricket continuing on Friday. We'll have updates from the final session of play at the Optus Stadium in Perth, whilst we bring you the Radicals, the Downforce Legends, on Friday night, with thanks to Bowens, the builder's choice, and we now pick up Daniel Benefield. Not really under any sort of pressure from Lewis Greathead at the moment. Daniel Benefield's tucked in behind Matty Denchier. They seem content as we have a look at some replays from the start here. Firstly, Russ Green. This is what happened on the opening lap.
This is we're trying to work out what happened in the background.
Dave Stell.
Oh, he's just blown it.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
I think he's had a screen failure of some sort.
Yeah. It's very weird. Oh. And he's backed up back off the road then once he's realised what the problem is. Back to Jared Knight. We're on lap 8 now. We complete lap 7 for these guys. Knight in 16, trying to get down on the inside of Dane Snadden. To the end of the main straight. Token, standard procedure, custom GT3 racing, isn't it, Adam? I mean, the way in which Denchi's just going through the motions, controlling the pace, punches out the fastest lap. Daniel Benefield goes with him. Happy to sit there, happy to follow Denchi through, happy to keep Lewis Greathead at bay. No one seems too eager to engage in battle just yet. This is standard GT3 racing. We've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah, we're also seeing the snake is now just ever so slightly starting to divide itself into its little battle groups. So everyone's finding themselves some dance partners, and the only downside with this track too is that long straight. When you are in a pack, it's kind of like Formula 1. You're basically getting up in a DRS train because everyone's got the slipstream and no one seems to want to make the move.
Dench, Benefield, Greathead, McLaughlin, and Mitchum, the top 5. McLaughlin in control of that second train. Donaldson has control of the third in 8. Caldwell, Glissett, Ambrose, Johnson, Piper, Chapman, all part of that. So far, the 2 retirements, so I'm not sure what exactly brought David Christensen's night to an end, but he retired last time by, and Rick Vincent has got back out there after 8 seconds on pit road. This is what happened to Christensen.
Oh, this is still all happening beforehand. This is everyone, bottling up. 1 second.
Okay, so that's the first incident. His teammate Dale Sharp parked up in behind him as well. Here comes Jared Knight to pit lane. Early stop for Marty. Very early stop for Jared Knight. That's commitment to 2 stops. We think everyone's on 2 stops tonight. We suspect they are with those little modifications that have been made. Hanstein relegated to 17th at the expense of Thomas Foster. Good move from the Ferrari on the BMW. One of 4 Ferraris in the field, taking on the only BMW in the field at the moment. Foster can't hold on. Hanstein to the outside, to the inside. Foster to the outside. Try to hold on to the inside. No, Hanstein's not having a bar of that. And they're also about to be under pressure from Michael Hammond in the Aussie Races Porsche. Look at Foster just SMS in the back of the pro entry there of Drew Handstand for Australia-wide racing. So there's a 5-second penalty in the Pro-Am split going to Curtin Omlinson, unfortunately, for a late move. So we're getting some updates from Pro-Am as we roll here. We appreciate that through Sam Stride. And that's Thomas Foster that we're riding on board with now. So Curtin Omlinson's picked up an invoice. Keep an eye on that. Through we go. Onto the main straight. Now, open throttle and go. Here comes Foster to pit lane. I think that's Foster's commitment to an early stop as well. Yep. So a few of them have opted for the early stop here and try and get out of the fight, out of the rubbish, out of the traffic. Foster and Potts to pit lane. So Jared Knight went lap 8, Potts and Foster 9. Rick Vincent at lap 5. There's still an outside chance that he can get home from there. But he's right on the bubble. David Christensen parked up and done. Dave Duddell done as well. Dench leads Benefield. We've got eyes on McLaughlin at the moment. He's only 3.8 behind Dench, but an inch is as good as a mile if you're the number 1 at the moment. Out in pursuit of title number 12. Remember next, so there's 2 broadcasting public service announcements here for you at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, very trimmed down, scaled back edition of the post-race show tonight. It's the express version, because our producer and director has a very early alarm tomorrow morning Eastern Daylight Time. These are the nights where you kind of wish that the alarm was for someone on the West Coast, not the East Coast, but nevertheless, we'll play with the cards we're dealt. And then the second one is on the subject of GT3. Next week, we're going to bring you the Pro-Am penultimate round, I should say, from Sebring, over 60 minutes. It'll be the last time that we check in. Oh, that was David Christensen again. That was his first incident. The second one that led to him parking up, I'm not terribly sure what that was, but that was took on long, taking evasive action there. Christensen, this is David Johnson now. Is this down in the main straight or turn 1? I think it's turn 1.
I think it was a glitch in timing.
Let's try Potts. Put a little bit of grass and ended up in passenger. Sharp. Just caught a little bit of grass and curb, and that was it. That was all she wrote. Safety though. Rick Vincent's moment. Now this was defining. He was a little bit wide there, and then on the return, oh gee, yeah.
He's gone for the cutback, but there was a car already there.
Yeah. And you kind of feel for it by Donaldson or Nick Wood, whichever one that was, because Vincent didn't see them there and they didn't see him coming. And then Nick Wood, a little bit later on, dished up his own punishment. Self-inflicted. Russ Green. Curb. Dench Benefield, Greathead, Mitchum and McLaughlin, the top 5. Down the main straight. Shane Clancy having a solid run and a very quiet, unimpeded run in 6th. Richard Mitchum has got by Sean McLaughlin. That's the only change to that battle pack. Mitchum in 4th, McLaughlin back to 5th. So it's now McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, 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 the top 10. 8 and 2. Jared Ambrose down 2 spots on where he started. Is outside the top 10 and 11th at the moment. Chapman.
That's it.
Now, there's a lot of pit lane activity that we didn't actually pick up on. So, a fair bit of pit lane activity. Michael Hammond and John Wright stopping at the end of lap 11. Chuk Fang Wong and Russ Green did so at the end of lap 10. We're now on lap 12.
So interestingly, there's something going on where every now and then it's triggering the guys on the main straight as a crash, which obviously makes no sense because they're definitely doing more than 20 k's an hour.
Correct. Now, Nick Fodiatis and I are on storm watch at the moment. Shane Clancy to pit lane, the first of the lead pack really, to pull down pit road. And, Rick Kingston, I guess, was the first of those, but he's already paid an invoice on track tonight as well, so it probably doesn't factor in the mix at the back end of the night, given how much time he lost after that spin and the cloud of war followed. Clancy and Jared Ambrose to pit lane. So this is also very interesting in the sense that we're not seeing one big clump of stops on the same lap at it. We're now well into the 21st minute. We're on lap 13. We're watching Denchi, apply his trade here, do the usual things that Matt Dench does. And we're just wondering now where the end of the stint is. Is it 13? Is it 14? It's probably 15 based on your usual calculations. We probably get to 15 in the 25-minute mark. That makes it very interesting for the count back on the way home.
It's going to be very, very shortly, I believe, for the final thing. But I think a lot of the other guys are just trying to get out of that snake and trying to get themselves some clean air for a couple of laps.
Only a couple. Here's Daniel Bannerfield. He's lost about a second and a half to Denchi. He's got Lewis Greathead in his rear view at the moment, and that's what view you've got at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Lewis Greathead. You can see the lights on. Even though it's a daytime race, and there's no danger of there being any sunset here comes Bannerfield. Now, this is unexpected. He's coming at the end of lap 13. He's on a different strut again, but Dench and Greathead and Mitchum and McLaughlin that go through to start lap 14. Ben Woods as well. Eli Donaldson comes in. This is Michael Hammond. Porsche. Wasn't even a savage crash, but it's enough to rule Mikey out of business. Hammond's parked up and done. He's had a gutful of the Porsche. Daniel Betterfield in. He's not the only one. There's a swarm of pit stops this time around. Dale Sharp, Nick Wood, Andrew Neal, Dane Snadden, Drew Henstein, Eli Donaldson as well. Top 11 remain on the circuit, yet to stop. So this is the biggest clump of pit stops we've had on any given lap so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them at the end of this lap. So that trimming the fuel tank capacity by 3% might just be enough to... My little mate Bondi, he's going to come in and have a quick chat to us after the race from Gundagai, our new member down in the AMSport. He said it's raining in our practice earlier, but he also mentioned, he said, hopefully I can get through without a stop tonight. I said, good luck with that, son. No hope in hell. I said, keep your eyes peeled because you're dealing with a modified fuel tank. It just won't happen. So still getting his head around, because when he debuted here, it was, sprint racing and all that sort of jazz. Thomas Foster to the outside. Good move on Dane Snadden, moves up to 17.
Yeah, I wonder if he realised tonight's an hour race, not 2 races.
Yeah, true. I'm pretty sure he was across that. He was asking me about that as well, but I said, just better check your fuel tank capacity, son. I don't think it's going to work for you. Dench, Greathead, Mitchum, McLaughlin all in the end of lap 14. Ben Woods in as well. Culverwell, Glissett, Piper, they're all in. Johnson, Chapman continues on. That doesn't surprise me. Renard as well. Let's keep an eye on him where he ends up. Does he go to pit lane? Yes, he does. So everybody but Chapo in this lap.
So everyone up into this group, no one's triggered the penalty yet. Let's see if we can get through the first phase with no penalties.
That'd have to be a first for us, wouldn't it? Based on recent form.
All right, around Fuji, it is very easy to get.
It absolutely is. But it's interesting too, because there's some short stopping. There's some short fueling going on here. 9 seconds for Sean McLaughlin. Oscar Glissett.
Yep, he's over.
Up and done. And Oscar Glissett is out of business. So that is unfortunate for him. He's plummeting down the order at the moment. That's a costly mistake.
So,
Chapman, Dench, and McLaughlin are the top three now. Chapo on the fuel save, clearly.
yeah, well, I don't know if is he going to be able to do 6 minutes more than everybody else to try and do no stop. It's going to cost him a lot of race time, I think. So it's going to be similar to the other race where he tried it and it just put him backwards.
Yeah, I don't think there's any merit in it when Denchi's not doing it. I don't think there's any merit in it. Uh-oh, Rick Vincent, he can't seem to escape the twitchy foot boys tonight, but that was all on his own. So Glisset comes out 56.25 seconds later. What a costly mistake for him. Now it's a long way back. It's a long way back from there. Where at the end of lap 15, Chapman will be coming to the lane this time by, I would imagine. Oh, hang on. Uh-oh. Can we have a look at Chapo, please? No, there he is. He's come good. My timing froze for about 3 seconds there, and I was like, hang on, he's not moving. What's going on here? He has made it to pit lane. Chapman on the tow rope and in pit lane. So, 25 and a half minutes gone. And Dench coming through at the end of the 25-minute mark to complete lap 15, 25 and 3/4. So, again, because of that, it is still touch and go as to whether we get a 36th lap or not. But at the moment, it's looking like 35 is definite, 36 is a maybe. And Dench, McLaughlin, Betterfield, Greathead, Clancy, Woods, Mitchum, Donaldson, and Ambrose are going to be your top 9. Chapman coming back out behind Piper, Culverwell, and Knight as well in 13th. 14th now to David Johnson. 15th, 16th, Foster and Snadden get by, and Snadden to the inside of Foster to turn 1.
So it looks, what's going to be interesting here, so the guys who have done no fuel saving have only got to about the 21, 22 minute mark, which doesn't leave much margin. So the guys that pitted 3 laps earlier, they're probably going to have to need to do it a little bit just to make sure they extend the next 2 stints to make sure they get the, because if they pitted around lap 15, they got to do 45 divided by 2, what's that, so 27? No, 23 and a half. So they got to get, they got to get themselves a full stint. So they're basically going to just to make sure they get the same fuel range as that second group we had, not the Denchi group, the group before. So they got to make sure they get to that level to make sure that pitting that 3 laps earlier actually works out for them. So Jared Knight pitting on lap 8, he's 4 laps earlier than somebody else, 6 laps ahead of the last group. He may be on the save as well, just to get himself over there. He may have. I just hope he hasn't miscalculated.
Correct. Although, well, surely not. I mean, surely not. Let's go through and crunch some numbers.
Well, we've also seen Chapo make it to 26 minutes, but that was with a mega fuel save though. That's with full save. So somewhere between 22 and 26 is sort of somewhere between 20 and 26 is the sweet spot for fuel at the moment.
Rick Vincent needs to go all the way through the stint if he possibly can, without stopping again. He's in all sorts of strife actually, based on current numbers. Because if he goes a 14-lap stint, that's like 19, and it's then 16, 17 to home. So Vincent's in a little bit of trouble, but everyone else should be able to get home in the fuel window. Just. Jared Knight's the unknown, as you say. 14 laps he's got to get, so that's to 22 and then to 26, to 36 rather. Geez, yeah, there's going to be some nervous sweating going on towards the back end of proceedings here. Jared Knight, we're right on board with him now. This will help. You might be able to save a few mil in the tow.
Already lifted. Yep, lifting the coast, and he knows the game.
Yep, he certainly does. He's been to this rodeo more than once.
Yeah, there's no more clutches in this game, so being in a 2 to 3 car, 2 to 3 car tow here, he can use that tow at the end of the straights to basically back off and have them suck him into the corner and just break that a little bit late to make that time back.
How good does the inside of the AMG look with the GPS camera on the back at all? Fantastic. Round we go onto the main straight. Get a good run off there, 90, and then in the tow. Go for it. Maybe a little bit too far back on Cam Culverwell for his own liking at the moment.
Yeah, you'd want to be a bit closer to maximise the tow. But that being said, up here, this could be on.
Could be indeed. And Culverwell to the inside. And that'll help 90 out as well. Because if these two squabble, he'll latch back on. Down the inside, got him. Caldwell, big lunge from Knight as well. Up and under on the exit. No, not going to work for Daniel Piper. So Caldwell goes through to 10th.
Interesting, that puts 2 Australia wide cars still on his turn, so that would definitely help each other out in strategy.
So that 3% is making more difference at the moment, isn't it?
Well, when we did the race last season, 3% was roughly a lap.
So that's 2 in total. That they've got to find an extra, bit in their strategy for.
Yeah, so basically, yeah.
It does remove the one stop, I think,
Well, so,
from the equation, but it opens up the flexibility for that pit stop range as well, because for those that stopped lap 14, the earliest they can jump in is 22-23 to make it home comfortable.
Yeah, well, Sam with the big fuel stop, he was about 2 laps away from being able to make the one stop work in the dry. If it was wet, he would easily be able to make it. So it's one of those things you just got to try and. It's very tricky with the settings, trying to find that sweet spot until iRacing give us an option to tick a box to do compulsory pit stops. At the moment, yeah, the fuel limiting is the only real sort of way we can sort of force a strategy into the surface. But
and it's amazing that you say that, isn't it? Because we talk about all the tweaks and the fine tuning and redevelopment iRacing can do, and that's one box that needs to be ticked that hasn't been ticked yet. CPF window. Yeah,
we just need him to give us a. Oh, look out! Moves on.
Snowden edges out Johnson. That's for P13.
I
will make the point here before you go on that Sean McLaughlin went the very light fuel, 9.23 seconds. Everybody else was somewhere between 12 and 15, 16 seconds even. Jared Knight with an 11-second fuel is a little bit concerning. However, it was only lap 8, so the next fuel stop will have to be longer for him.
Yeah, he's 11 seconds, but it would have been a full tank though.
Everyone else is self-explanatory. Rick Vincent has made it to lap 18, so I think he's going to have to transit the lane a third time, unfortunately. Here's Rick Vincent if he's going to make it home. He's the last car on the lead lap at the moment, down in 27th. Russ Green on the tow rope. Russ Green on the tow rope. This is why.
Weird.
That's just going to be parked up and done, I think. Russ Green's out of business. Russ Green's night is over.
So most of the updates the past year or two have been content and rain updates and stuff. Their future plans seem to be a bit more graphical based and back end stuff. So there has been talk about fixing the RC side of things, because it would be really nice as league owners to have actually in the setup thing have a rules tab where we can actually go in and alter some of the default iRacing rules to make the penalties a bit more realistic, and also have things like the compulsory stops and those sort of stuff, because that would be amazing. We can actually have proper control over setting up our races and rules and restrictions.
Because it is fairly restrictive at the moment. Sam Chapman at 15th, down on the inside of Thomas Foster. Yeah, it is limiting. And one of the biggest ones that particularly annoys people in invert situations is if you cop a penalty in the first race, if it's 5, 10 seconds, whatever, you don't pay that until after the night, so you still benefit from the invert if you finish inside the top 10 or 15 or whatever the invert is.
Well, even
then you get the invoice afterwards.
Even something simple as, hang on, there's a lot of smoke here. What's going on? Oh, Foster.
Oh, trouble! Thomas Foster's engine's blind. His night's done.
No, it's just tire smoke.
Or is it just a spin? Let's have a look. There's not contact, is there? No,
he's just too much go on the
got
outside.
Squeezed, I think. He's been squeezed on the outside. Need to ride on board with him. Have a look. Yeah, he's giving himself no room to play with there.
And I'm not sure if Sham squeezed him. I think maybe he just underestimated the gap.
And Chapo had the line, like at Chapo's corner. He was well and truly in front. Jared Ambrose in 9th place. Cam Caldwell, Daniel Piper, Jared Knight, Dane Snowden, and David Johnson. So no, Foster not done, but resumes down in 18th. And that's only up 2 on where he started. Not exactly what he would have been hoping for.
Multi 21.
Culverwell to the inside of Ambrose. Culverwell gets the job done. Culverwell goes to P9. Ambrose left the door open. No one else was able to take the invitation, though. Piper and Knight slot back in behind. This is helping Knighty all the time. Nice move, Culverwell into the top 10 now. Into 9th. And,
I think my theory with DJ's livery, because also who was it? Sean McLaughlin, also HCS driver in a Ferrari, Ferrari default livery. So I think the HCS guys haven't got around to painting the Ferrari yet. I think it's a bit of a backlog in the HCS workshop.
I'd say so. Important to note too, we're talking to Jared. We're talking about Craig Bond not being aware that he was going to have to stop tonight, not being across the fuel numbers and all that sort of stuff. Just learning the art of the game that we play here on the platform for GSRC and the way we go about it. The reason he would have just been anticipating getting in and just driving for the hour was because over the weekend there would have been no tank capacity. Whoa, off, and a second moment there as well. So Cam Culverwell was wide, and then Jared Ambrose smashed into the off-track ripple strip, the bunny hop, and he got airborne. Now that's tightened things up. Here comes Daniel Piper. Here comes Jared Knight down the main straight. Down the inside goes Ambrose on Culverwell, but no, that's going to open the door for Daniel Piper. Down the outside he goes. He wants 2 for the price of 1 here. We'll only get 1 if he's lucky, and it might be the up and under. Ambrose tight on the inside. Hugs the exit. Does well. Keeps Piper at bay just a little bit longer. Over the weekend, the iRacing officials hosted the Fuji 8-hour, ladies and gentlemen, previous points. So, I mean, there have been a lot of laps turned and a lot of hours spent getting familiar with the Fuji International Speedway over the course of the weekend. And Rain Campbell's right, plenty going on here. Sometimes the fuel save can be good, sometimes too much of an invoice comes from it as well. And that's a fair point, and that's exactly what Adam Lavis was saying a few months ago.
And also, just look back on the previous chats. David Ruddle, his VR crapped itself. That's what he basically went into that corner on the roll-up lap blind.
Gotcha. And that's never ideal. Jared Ambrose, and the best placed Lambo at the moment. In fact, the only Lambo in this field. We've lost both the Porsches that we had, both Hammond and the Del Dunn. Russ Green, the Ferrari, parked up. The only Audi that started with David Christensen, he's not going to make it to the checkered flag. 4 retirements already. Rick Vincent, the last running car in the field at the moment. Already down a lap, though, in 26th place. In comes Sean McLaughlin, the first of the pit stops for the run home. And Jared Knight as well.
Duddle, not Ruddle.
Yeah, Duddle, not Ruddle. Yeah, thank you. Sean McLaughlin into the pit lane as well as Jared Knight. Okay, so that's good for Knighty. The fact that he's made it to 22 is good news for him. May need to make it a little bit further. He may get to the full 36 tonight, we may not. In fact, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking we won't. Just to be honest with you, but who knows? Dave Revell and Dave Devell, the gift that keeps on giving, yes, exactly right. I just want to get a gauge for where we are when Denchi comes back across the line, Adam Lavis, because he stopped for 13.28 seconds last time around. Sean McLaughlin, the reason that he's gone in is because he only fueled for about 9 seconds. And he's come back out in 19th position after a 15.8 second stop. Denchi's coming across the line now, right? 55 seconds, bang, perfect. 55 seconds past that 38-minute marker. The mark we were looking for was about 38.20, so we've only lost about 35 seconds of that minute 40 window that we've got for potential overtime. So we're going to get back to the line at about 40 minutes and 35 seconds. 12 laps from there, right? Plus a pit lane transit. We should still make 36 tonight based on those numbers. based on those numbers, this goes to 36, which means Jared Knight is still fuel saving for the 14 lap stint home, and needs to find a dance partner promptly and swiftly. Now, Troc Fung Wong to pit lane to continue the slow trickle of pit stops on this second transit of the lane and this run home to the checkered flag. You can see there on the right-hand side of the totem pole, folks, who's done one stop, who's done two, and who's retired as well, who's parked up for the night. Quick post-race show tonight, and then back with you on Wednesday. Well, I won't be, but Sam Chapman and Liam Banks will be here. They will be bringing you Wednesday Night Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, with thanks to all of our great partners. This is Jared Ambrose. Too deep into the corner, couldn't pull it up, and backs off the road. Ambrose, as a result, falls down to 13th behind Johnson, Chapman and Snadden. And then that's, of course, for the Orbit trucks and also the supercars. Then we get stuck into, on Thursday night, the GT4s and the Porsches. There's been some multi-21 between Ben and Rich. That's a fair point too. Benny Woods, Richard Mitchum, the two Twitchy footboys towing each other along. Here comes Ben Woods to pit lane. Woods is in. So Yule Zig and Isle Zag would have been the multi-21 instructions on that time around. Dench leads again. 6.8 the margin here. It's just taken off. Broken clear of everybody. Here comes a little bit of gamesmanship unfolding. Jared Ambrose. And he comes to pit lane as Nick Wood continues on. So too Glenn Arnott. So too Greg Hanstein. So only Oscar Gossett paid an invoice that first time through pit lane. Only one out of 28 stoppers on that first sequence of pit stops, on that first round. Not bad. Who will be tripped up this time through?
You can see the amount of time marks in that second apex there where the people cut that little corner, so there is probably a few X's there getting lost.
Interesting to see how many clean races we have tonight. Yeah. It's not a point we highlight, but it does make the difference with regards to bonus points and championships and the like. Sam Chapman in 10th place. Continuing along his fuel save. Here comes Denchy to pit lane with what we think is 11 laps to go.
He did do a slightly short fuel in that first thing.
Yeah.
Well, not a lot. He took about 2 or 3 seconds short he gave himself just to try and get the guys out of his toe.
Which worked. It worked beautifully. Dench, Clancy, Donaldson all in at the end of lap 25. Now anything north of 43.20 and Denchy's good to take us through to the end. He's out now, he's gone. It's 20 seconds to the good. So there's your window, folks. I believe, if I'm doing my numbers right, which I hope I am after all this time, maths is not my strong point, ladies and gentlemen. At 1 minute 40, so that's 3:20 and 5, that's 3 and 5 and 6 in 10. So therefore 1 minute 40 and 2 is 3:20, so 3:20 would have been the threshold, which we've just hit, 3:20, which means we're getting to the finish line of this race somewhere in the vicinity of 1 minute and 20 into overtime, which means expect the checkered flag, expect the last lap board to fly, the white flag to be thrown somewhere in that last half minute of proceedings, that half minute of regular time. So 36 is the number, which means, again, Rick Vincent's done. He won't be making it home. We've had another transit of the lane. Andrew Neal's good. Everybody else should be good. 90 was able to drag it out and do 14 laps in that second stint. He needs to back it up and do it again in the third. Benefield, Mitchum, Piper, Snadden and Hanstein to pit lane this time by. As we hit the 45-minute mark of this race. Race 12 of the campaign, night 1 of week 8 of term 4, round 8 of the Waste Options GT3 Championship. Don't forget, stick around, folks. As soon as we're done, apart from an abbreviated post-race show, we will have the results from the other 2 splits, the Pro-Am and the Am. We'll have a couple of drivers dropping in to say g'day to us as well. We'll look ahead on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube and let you know what's coming up. Where, when and how and why and, you know, what. And with who? Did I cover them all off then?
Possibly.
When, where, why, what, how, who. Yeah.
So if there was any multi-21 going on between Woodsy and Mitchum, it's gone in Mitchum's favour. He's come out 3 seconds ahead now.
Yeah. And that was probably the intention of the strategy all along. Mitchum needs the leg up. I mean, really, when you look at the championship standings, he's the only one within striking distance of Denchi. Tonight's a huge setback for Oscar Glissett. As far as his points aspirations are concerned, he's in the points, don't get me wrong, and well so, but he's still got a pit stop to do. And he'll come back out well down the order as a result. But he's only got 32 seconds on Andrew Neil, who's 26th and last in runners at the moment, and about to go a lap down on Dench and Greathead and Calderwell and Chapman and co. Chapman's another one that's got to stop again. So too Greathead, Calderwell, so too Johnson. We're riding on board with Chuk Fung Wong at the moment. Granada yet to stop a second time. Here's Dane Snadden. Drift work for Dane. And a beautiful photo moment for Bowens. Good little bit of airtime for the Bowens. Like it. Bowens, the builder's choice, of course, bringing you Friday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the GSRC this term. Look at Granada under pressure from Daniel Benefield. Benefield's good to go to the end. Arnott is not. Arnott has to stop again. They're forcing the issue here, and Benefield does not need to race with Arnott. Arnott to the outside. Benefield to the inside. Thanks for coming. Benefield moves through. His next target is M. Dench, but he's 8.5 seconds up the road. In comes Lewis Greathead, who was well clear of everybody else on the racetrack. Calderwell, Chapman, Johnson also yet to stop.
Lewis was battling Benefield here, so it'll be interesting to see if this little battle with Arnott has cost Benefield any time.
Yeah, exactly, and that might have been the only reason Benefield was so eager to get away on by. Calderwell, Johnson to pit lane. Chapman continues on. Still to stop to Glenn Arnott, and that'll do us. But they're the only 4 yet to stop. Oscar Glissett has returned to the racetrack, but has done so down in 25th position. The last of the point scoring positions. There is Lewis Greathead out in front of Daniel Benefield and Glenn Arnott. So to answer Adam Lavis' question, yes, it has proven costly for Daniel Benefield. Advantage Greathead.
The other thing is Daniel took 2.5 seconds more fuel in that stop too, so either he's over-fueled or Lewis is under-fueled, or one of them is, or Lewis has done enough saving to gain that undercut in the pit strategy.
Chapman, Arnott, and also... No, that's it. Sorry, Chapman and Arnott. That is all that we've got left as far as second round pit stops are concerned. 4 retirements thus far. Rick Vincent actually has been back on the pit lane for a minute and 20 now, so that doesn't bode well for him, but he has made 75% race distance. If he stays there, he will be classified, but he won't score points. Oscar Glissett is the last of the point scorers at the moment in 25th. A night to forget for his championship aspirations. 47.7 off the next car, which is Andrew Neal. And right down on our leader, Matty Dench. Or Sam Chapman, I should say. But he's also a lap down on Dench and Greathead and Benefield, Arnott and McLaughlin and Mitchell. In comes Sam Chapman now. Dench goes through to take the lead. So all that fuel saving, and Dench still got him before he's even landed in his pit box. Oh dear. Dench, Greathead, Benefield, and Chapman, McLaughlin, Arnott. McLaughlin goes through to 4th. Chapman and Arnott, the pit lane, come in, come out. Chapman gone in 9.12 seconds. So he'll come out behind Richard Mitchum and Shane Clancy and Ben Woods. And maybe Eli Donaldson as well. Yes, so Chapman's going to come out in 9th. Make it 10th. Culverwell's gone through as well. Piper might get him on the inside on the 1-1, and he has done so. So Chapman comes out in 11th. And now gets to race hard. Force the issue with Daniel Piper on the run home. So 15 and 14, the 2 stints for Chapman. Dench will be 6 laps from home next time by the line. We will do some overtime tonight, folks, and it will be beautiful. 36 the target, and Chapman keeping Piper honest in the only battle in the top 10 right now. Can Benefield find a way back to Greathead? It's Vermilion taking on 9.5. It's 1.59 the margin, Greathead to Benefield. Doesn't have to worry about Sean McLaughlin though, he's 4 seconds down the road. Richard Mitchum's another 7. Shane Clancy is there, another 1.4 away. 2.9 for Ben Woods, 2.7 for Eli Donaldson. Cam Caldwell's another 5 seconds behind Donaldson. Top 10 covered with Daniel Piper 36.8 seconds off Dench and 4.1 behind Caldwell. Top 10 covered by 37.3 seconds. 8.5 minutes to go. Dench has started lap 31. We are 6 laps from home. Denchi's the reason this goes to overtime most times, ladies and gentlemen. On our way home. Solid effort tonight. Lack of attrition. Although Rick Vincent has joined the retirements list. He's parked up and done. That's 5 retirements now. Oscar Gossett will rue what might have been. Richard Mitchum, unfortunately, in 5th place. So whatever happens, Adam Lavis, Denchmark extends his advantage tonight. And that was what happened to Chuk Fung Wong.
It's a very regular story. Denchi out in front of the GT3s. But unfortunately for Chuk, unfortunately clipped one of those Twinkies from earlier.
Twinkies, thank you. That was the word I was looking for. It was just sitting there, but I couldn't think of it. Dench, Greathead, and Benefield, McLaughlin, Mitchum, Clancy, Woods, Donaldson, Culverwell, and Piper the top 10.
So the fuel save strat obviously hasn't reaped any win potential for this Chapo, but he is up 11 spots still, so has provided some fruit for his efforts.
He's done it nicely. My mate from the AM split, I should say, Craig Bond, has already landed in the commentary box. Now either that means that he's done for the night, or he's just sitting there and waiting, and he's just put himself into the broadcast booth ready to have a chat to us before, in the waiting room I should say, before he's done with his, he's probably in the pit lane and decided, you know what, I'm just going to park myself here so that I can be first come off the rank of the post-race show, and it worked because we will get to him very shortly. 6.5 minutes to go. Matty Dench leads Lewis Greathead, Daniel Benefield and Sean McLaughlin. Remembering we will do some overtime here, folks. Denchy will drag this out to 36 laps for us. Greathead holding off Benefield, 2 seconds nearly the margin, second to third now. And fairly slow going. It's fairly processional, unfortunately. I was hoping that we wouldn't be saying that. But it is the Fuji Speedway after all, and it has slowly but surely played out that way as the field has worked itself out and spread itself out. There's Jai Potts, probably the closest battle on the racetrack, chasing Chuk Fung Wong. This is for 19th. Fung Wong in the Mustang and Potts in the McLaren. HTS Racing, Jared Knight, up 6 spots on where he started, down in 13th. His next target is his teammate David Johnson. Yeah, he'll rue what might have been, I think, 90. But that's the Mercedes for you. He's paying the price with going with a car of comfort rather than a car of pace, like the McLaren and the Ferrari. And nice to see Ferrari keeping McLaren honest. There have been other weeks where it's been other manufacturers, Adam Lavis, but to be fair, McLaren's been a cut above. Ferrari hasn't been too far away this season. Not a lot of love for the Porsche at the moment, and that'll probably stay that way for the remainder of the campaign. 3 Mustangs in this field, and all 3 are still running, and we're looking at one of them at the moment.
Yeah, the Mustang's still one of the best sounding cars out there. And it did get a bop, so it is actually in the competitive circle now. But yeah, that's what I was saying earlier before we got cut off. There's some incidents, as we've seen. So there is that placebo effect where everyone perceives the McLaren currently being a faster car, whereas it could just be because everyone's in it. But you see with the lower classes, the fact that it's a bit tricky to drive means that although whether or not it is slightly faster around certain tracks and certain corner styles, if you're more comfortable in a car and have less chance of making mistakes, that's going to be faster for you over the race distance.
Indeed it is.
So yeah, I think there's a few people out there who like to do their hot lapping, and they mistake a race of being the race being, it's not about being the fastest lap, it's actually about being the fastest from green to checkered. And some people forget that fact about racing.
That's it. Consistency. You've still got to be in it at the end, and no good blowing the top too early in the piece. Dench, Greathead, Betterfield, McLaughlin and Mitchum, the top 5, folks. And car on its lid! Car gone! Sam Chapman! He'll have grabbed a Twinkie! Have a look at this! Chapo's night is done in extraordinarily dramatic fashion.
Oh, what's the second
double
one?
Twinkie! The somersault!
The second one wasn't even a Twinkie, it was just a glitch in the curb.
It's like Hobbo and the TCR wrote it letter all over again. What the hell? Have a look at this. There's the Twinkie, bang. Oh!
It's the bottom out. I think the bottom out, the front lip of the spoiler is probably Kurt, because this track has 3D curves now, so it's probably like a bit of a glitch in the matrix where it's got behind one of the curb notches, and it just stopped the car dead.
So Chapo can stay on pit lane and be classified 25th and take the points for that. It helps Oscar Glissett out, who will finish 24th now. Chapo, points for the entertainment, but 0 for the landing, mate. What happened?
Oh, mate, I haven't done gymnastics in a while, and landing is one of the key skills. And so,
True.
yeah, I was playing a bit too hard. But no, it was interesting incident. Not sure it's entirely lifelike, but yeah, I'm on my limit. So there goes that.
Will you get the car back out there? Because at the end of the day, I'm hoping you've still got a fast repair at your disposal.
I don't think we do. It's pro, so probably not.
No, you do in the long races.
We're doing the long races. I mean, I'm being lapped now. I've got a minute to go and I've got the championship, so that's okay. I'll leave it.
Copy. Or well, at least you can stay there, mate, and still be classified 25th and take the 1 point or whatever it is that goes with that. Unfortunate. How was the car running up until then, apart from efficient on the fuel front, because we know that you were stretching the tank as far as you possibly could?
Yeah, no, car was lovely. Like, yeah, I bought the McLaren a couple of hours before the 8-hour on Saturday, and yeah, it's a really nice car to drive. And so, yeah, it's enjoying driving it. It probably wasn't, putting in the best pace or best laps really, and horrible quali. But we were chopping through the field still, and I was just sort of saving up a bit of a run to push in for 10th, but wasn't to be.
We haven't seen you on a Monday night in the main course slot since round 2. Reason for the return, apart from was it an opening in your schedule? Was it that you wanted to get more laps in the McLaren, or that 8 hours wasn't enough around Fuji?
Oh, all of the above. There's opening in the schedule tonight, so, and I've already done a few laps around Fuji. I think I'll jump in, but I clearly hadn't trained hitting that sausage curb in that particular way, so
no.
Yeah, not enough laps it turns out, but Yeah, no, just an opening in the schedule. So, but we're on the white flag lap now, so you better focus on what these guys are up to.
I was about to say, Denchi has seen the white flag. The last lap board is in the air, ladies and gentlemen, and we are on the run home. Stay with me, Chapo, coming back to you shortly. He was missing in action in Canada, but I'm assuming the bloke is back. Barney back in his little rostrum there, and his
I thought you were talking about me.
flag marshal stand. Yes, there he is. Here we go. Waving the white flag. Look at that. Beautiful. About time he showed up. Only a couple of hours late.
Surprised he can still wave the flag that vigorously with all the riders cramped from the autographs this time.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you that didn't see it earlier, he was sitting in the grandstand in Canada in amongst the rank and file. It was fantastic. So, yeah, nice to see that he's at least in his marshal post and doing his job once more. But what about this guy, folks? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Won round one, second in round two, but got the bonus points, so won the round in the end with pole position and other things. Won round three, a first and a 17th in round four, his only blip in the road. A first and a second in round five, a double first last week, a double first the week before, and now he has absolutely smashed the competition once more at the Fuji International Speedway. The benchmark is another step closer to title number 12. One hand on the GT3 Pro Championship in turn 4. Dench does it in Fuji. And by a staggering margin. 6.5 seconds in the end to Lewis Greathead, who held off Daniel Bannerfeld. Sean McLaughlin's going to come home in 4th. And Richard Mitchell a long way back in 5th, holding off Shane Clancy, Ben Woods, then Eli Donaldson, the two twitchy foot teammates, end the night as they started it, side by side. Cam Culverwell, Daniel Piper and David Johnson take us back to 11th. Great McLarens, 2 Ferraris in the top 10. There's a couple of things to be said there, and we'll get to that in a moment. Jared Knight in for 12th in the Mercedes. Held off Dane Snadden and Jared Ambrose. Yeah, exactly. Even the coach didn't get Benny Woods up there.
Someone's out of fuel.
Uh-oh.
It's Jared.
That's Jared Knight. Jared Knight coughing and spluttering his way to the line. It does lose him 12th. So Dane Snadden goes through. Knight holds off Ambrose 13th, 14th. Nick Wood 15th. Drew Hanstein 16th. Ben Thomas Foster. Chuk Fung Wong's going to come through in 18th. 19th for John Wright. Mustangs 18, 19 and 21 with Dale Sharp and Andrew Neal coming home 20th and 21st. Tripod's going under. They're going to make up the order. Oscar Gliss at a lap down. Chapo will be classified 3 laps down after some stunning acrobatics to finish the night. And really the only mistake we saw from you, Chapo, in the GT3 portion of the evening. That was unfortunate, really, for the night to finish that way. But we know how savage those Twinkie curbs can be here at Fuji. However, the second part of that is really unexpected, and I dare say young Brenton Hobson, a friend of the club, would be looking on and saying, well, that's not dissimilar to my blip in the road that sent me hard right in TCR at Road Atlanta. It had that sort of vibe about it.
Yeah, I guess it did. I'm sure Brenton Hobson was actually in a championship position, though. At least in this case, I've learnt the art while I've only done 2 rounds. So swings and roundabouts, right?
Oh, that's exactly right. Yep, spectacular racing tonight from Matty Dench. Spectacular exit from you. And in the end, we've got a few guys coming in for our post-race show here. Now, guys, I am pushed for time tonight. We've only got about 25 minutes or so at our disposal here. We've stretched it to 35 because 10:30 is the cut-off. But if we aim for 10:20 at least, then we can start to wrap it up. Chapo, will we see you in the next couple of rounds of GT3 starting next week, Sebring, please?
I can't do Sebring, but you might see me in the final round, depending if I've got time.
And looking forward to seeing what the new Spa looks like.
Yeah, I've done a race or 2 there. It's not all that different as far as I can tell, but I was never that great around Spa anyway, so yeah, it was, it seems pretty good. A bit fresher, but, it's the same track at its core.
Indeed it is. There are the results, ladies and gentlemen, as I've already run through them, but there they are for visual reference for you. In the end, quite a few retirements, starting with Rick Vincent. and all the way down. Pro-Am results for you. The second place man from Pro-Am joins us in just a moment for a chat. His name is Brad Coates. These guys only got 35 laps in. As I said, Denchi took us to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. He usually does. The pro place of Matt Dench took us to that 36th lap. Adam Proctor leading. Usually tells us how many laps he led. They led 7. Yep, 6 laps led by Brad Coates. Third to Gavin Simpson, Kurt Chapman, Stephen Gallich at the top 5. Isaac Curtis, Russell Gander, Paul Wood, Neil De Bruin and Dave Oliver. The top 10 there, all on the lead lap. And only 16 seconds covering 1st and 10th. And Brad Coates missing out by half a second on victory. So had there been another lap, Coatesy might have been able to fire it up on the inside of Adam Proctor. But well done to Adam Proctor with the gold standard there. And Brad Coates picking up silver. You'll hear from Brad in just a moment. Now, the AM split results, once we get a chance, before we go any further. There's the replay of the start, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a shambolic start given what happened on the warm-up lap for Mr. Diddell. But the field was bunched up and then very quickly spaced out. Liam Amos from Philip Butler, Janish Ragwani, Warren Ibert, Parry Punter, Mitchell Buckman, Grant Gill, Dale Atkins, Andrew Bailey. And look at that. Young Bondi's come home in the top 10 after 35 laps, even with me in his ear for the last 20 minutes. Well done. We'll get to him in just a moment. A minute down on the pace setter. Liam Amos, 5 seconds to good over Phil Butler. Clinical from Amos. Important win as far as that championship's concerned, but Warren Ibert maintains his consistency as far as the championship's concerned. The other thing as well, Sean Bonici's had packet loss and internet dropout there. Or an issue with the iRacing internally. I'm not sure one or the other, but he said the game decided to crash, so that could be a number of different reasons. But Sean Bonici was on track until that went tits up, as they say in the classics. Unlucky. Hey, Chapo, Super Formula Lights tomorrow night, no doubt. Looking forward to that introductory formula. You've got a championship to wrap up there as well. And then obviously we will... yes, Jared Knight. Unfortunate seeing you go to the moon and back. And he says that knowing that he had his own little issues that were going on as well on the way to the checkered flag. He was coughing and spluttering his way to the line. My VR headset decided to crap itself on the warm-up lap. That was the comment of Dave Diddell, verified by Adam Lavis earlier in the piece. But Chapo, after tomorrow night, you'll be broadcasting Wednesday night with our good mate and colleague Liam Banks, and then, of course, back on Thursday to do it all again.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I've unfortunately got a dinner tomorrow night, so I've got to put that round aside for the Enjoy Formula. I'm hoping the drop rounds in the bank will be enough to hold it off, but we'll see. But yeah, back online for Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Big trucks and supercars, big engines, low downforce. Wednesday night's the night for that. Yeah, obviously looking forward to that brilliant battle that I'm having with Sam Muir in the GT4s on Thursday. We'll see how that pans out.
Circuit Zolder, can hardly wait for that. Well done, mate. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Bondi, a top 10. Well done.
Is it really that good though? After where I started that race?
Well, okay. You're going to have to help me out here because I was only reading the results. I wasn't reading the qualifying stats. P1 in qualifying. Okay, then you underfueled. Hang on, there's the comment there. The car, so you had to fuel save and as you're 1.5 seconds down on fuel. So you ended up still doing 2 stops, did you?
Yeah, I would have been better off just doing 3 stops and I would have finished higher, I think. But
oh dear. Meatball meant that Jared Knight had to pit the lap early as well. He struggled to make it on 2 stops from there. Well, we saw that because you coughed and spluttered to the line, mate. The PA Pro-Am Championship is heating up. We'll have a look at those points shortly. Brad, of course, we'll hear from in just a moment, and Dent, you're about to hear from as well. Okay, so Bondi. Obviously, there's a couple of things here, and I've got to make it quick because we're on borrowed time tonight. But clearly, the fact that you drove about 72 hours around Fuji over the weekend, because not only did these blokes sign up and do an 8-hour race on Saturday, folks, they then backed it up and did a 3-hour on that night just for fun. And then another hour tonight. So clearly you've reached a level of comfort with that circuit, which was reflected in your qualifying pace. but that's a rookie mistake, which we can forgive you for because you're still a rookie in our club, to underfuel the car for the first stint.
Well, I've done enough laps of this track, and as soon as I saw someone go quicker than me in quali, I just one up them and go even quicker. Yeah, and then, yeah, it's disappointing that it's great, underfueling it. But we struggled with the issue in the 8-hour with ruining the setup because fuel, so I didn't do it tonight, but then it underfueled too much.
In saying that, good recovery to still finish 10th. I mean, that being said, hopefully when you get to Sebring next week, you've put the field on notice by your qualifying pace. It's now just a case of not underfueling and putting 60 minutes together.
Yeah, I need to do a lot of practice at Sebring. Haven't done any. I'll probably try and get the team together later this week before I head to Dubbo to do some practice with. Because it's better with a team.
One word of advice: prepare to be shaken and rattled by the bumps around the joint. It's bumpy. I know.
Well, more to use my wheel at 50%, so I'll probably lower that even more. Sebring.
Probably a good idea. No, you'll have fun around there next week. I look forward to the report card midway through the week. And just quickly before I let you go, because I say I've got to wrap it up at the bottom of the hour. We believe you're going to make your debut in introductory Formula tomorrow night, or is it the Super Formula Light?
Super Formula Light tomorrow night, and I'll
Nice.
probably do one race. So I've raced every night of GSRC in mixed weeks. Only one race, but still good to learn. See
Yes.
what I do season term 1 next year.
Term 1 next year, yeah, absolutely. And Denchi referring to Dubbo as Dub Vegas, and yes, there's some karting on over there this weekend, Bondi.
Yeah, Gold Cup. I think I've got like 12 or something in my class. Racing against a couple of team members and got a couple other team members there as well. So,
And on the subject of your field size, how big was GT3, Am, please?
no, I don't check. I think it was like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, not bad. No, I mean, even though you made one little cock up, at least you've still been able to keep everybody else at bay. That's not bad.
Well, it was extreme. 4 seconds off the pace every lap, at least, I think. But hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Hopefully not. The onus is on the operator. That's a spacer problem, Craig. You've got to fix the spacer problem. Everything else is in check, but the thing operating the steering wheel and the pedals needs a little bit of fine tuning.
Setup was perfect, and I just couldn't do the fuel.
Oh dear. Mathematics boy. We'll work on it. Hey, good work tonight. Look forward to catching up with you later in the week and obviously seeing you on Thursday.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there he is, Craig Bond. Very nicely done. Lewis Greathead coming to you shortly. Denchi's here as well. Let me bounce across all of you and go up to Brad Coates. Half a second. That's all that separated the pro-am split. Closest finish of the night, mate. And a good contest between you and a few people around you, but in the end it was a two-way fight for the win.
Yeah, it was a good race all night. Adam got me last lap. He was leading for probably the first 10 laps or so, and then things kind of just spread out a bit, and then found his way back to the front. Credit to him. He was able to hit me on the last lap. Tyres just kind of gave out, but I'm happy with P2. Not used to being up this end of the field so often. It's a foreign place.
In saying that, I mean, where was Gavin Simpson? Where was Paul Wood in relation to you? Because they're the two ahead of you in the championship. They're probably the two you got to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my eye on him, but I thought they were nowhere, and then out of nowhere, Gavin popped up, and I think he finished just behind me. So he's a speedy little bloke. He'll find his way up the top there. So yeah, I'm sure it'll well and truly heat up over these last few rounds.
And only 26 points between you and Paul Wood coming into the round. Will not be able to stick around long enough to bring you the updated results tonight with regards to that. So yeah, Gavin Simpson 3rd and Paul Wood 8th. So I mean, you've taken a little bit out of the advantage that Paul Wood had on you going into the round. So that bodes well as the battle for second hots up. But now, you know, Gavin with his consistency might just be a bridge too far unless something was to befall him on the unfortunate front over the next couple of weeks. What's a pass mark for you? You're sitting 3rd at the moment. Is it second, or are you aiming aiming big for the win in this championship?
Honestly, I'll be chuffed for the trophy. I was targeting almost top 10 this year, kind of finishing 18th last year. But we'll see when those drop rounds really start to kind of file in and see how people end up. But big shout out to the Revolutionary Racing boys. We had Adam, myself, Isaac, even Kurt, all up there for a while. So good to see.
And on the subject, Adam's running the Mustang, is he? Am I reading that right on the points table?
I believe so. Whatever it was pretty quick.
So there you go. Just proof to everybody around. Yeah, there it is. Ford Mustang GT3. Just proof to everybody out there that the pony has got a little bit of poke and potential. Because Adam Proctor's no slouch, so if he can get it to victory lane, I mean, you've probably got to stop Denchi first. That's the problem. we've got to see Denchi in the Mustang first before we say it's going to be a winning car in the pro split. But yeah, if you're sitting at home wondering about getting the pony on the circuit, there's your incentive. It is a race-winning car in GT3 Pro-Am. Very nicely done. To keep Brad interested on maybe missing the last round. That's Gavin Simpson. Now, that is interesting. However, he has got drop rounds to fall back on, but not much. The margin's 72 at the moment.
If he has a drop round, it's still the last round's worth 90 points, though, instead of 60, so...
Oh, boy. Jeez. We'll keep it interesting. It will certainly keep all eyes on Pro-Am going into the final week. Thank you, Gavin. Hey, Brad, what's next for you, please?
Probably a bit more practice. I think my 16 and something hours of Fuji on the weekend really helped. Doing it twice. Got a lot of practice in, but really just trying to nail down those last few tracks and keep it good. I'm not sure where I pulled my quali lap out of this evening. I just looked up and then suddenly I was up in fourth or something, so I was lucky there, but yeah, just a lot of practice for me.
Which is your preferred out of the next two circuits, Sebring or Spa?
Sebring, definitely.
Okay.
Bus stop. I'm not a guy for a bus stop. Never was any good bus stops.
Very nicely done. We're not going to touch that with a barge pole. It's too early in the evening. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. No post-race from me tonight from Greg Heaney because he's going to let Adam make that early alarm. Greg, I appreciate that. We'll see you later in the week. And Brad, we'll see you later in the week as well, mate. Good luck for the rest of this week and look forward to seeing you on track next Monday night. We will be bringing the Pro-Am race to everybody around Australia next Monday night, so make a note of that.
Thanks, boys.
There we go. Alarm ETA is 5 hours and 40 minutes away for Adam Lavis. So what's that? 3:50 Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow morning. Geez, I don't envy you in the slightest. From Brad Coates, we go down to Louis Greathead, who beat everybody else here, but couldn't beat Denchi on the racetrack. Lewis, nice to have you on board. Congratulations. Second in the M. Had to fight hard for it. Tucked in, followed both Daniel Betterfield and Matty Dench through that opening stint. Then, of course, some different calculations and numbers were played. Daniel opted to go a little bit early on the second stop. You guys managed to get out onto the racetrack ahead of him, you and Denchi. And from there, once the pit stops had played out, you had about 1.5 seconds up your sleeve. You managed to gradually extend that out and make it a McLaren 1-2, mates. And a very nice drive at that. Well done.
Thank you very much. It was some good fun. That was the fuel was a bit of a big question mark for me, but as usual I just followed what Denchi did.
Yeah. well, we call him the Denchmark for a reason. He's usually a good guide for all and sundry. The car, the circuit, the driver. How comfortable? How happy were you with that hour?
Yeah, I was pretty comfortable with the track. We won top split the 8 hour yesterday morning, so. Yeah, already done a fair few laps around here already, but yeah, the track was way quicker than what I experienced yesterday.
What do you put that down to?
Oh, I think there was like crazy humidity, I think, and the one that we had yesterday, and yeah, it just felt super gripped up. Wasn't mad.
Now it's been a while since we've had a chance to chat to you in a post race show, Lewis. So therefore I have to ask, where have you been on a Thursday night since round 1 of GT4? We haven't seen you, mate.
I've got a lot of things work commitments wise going on at the moment, so that's unfortunately, that does have to take priority.
That
Good
does
question,
yeah.
Zach. I was wondering where my teammate was as well.
Oh, you're still
no.
here.
Look, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chapo is still in the house. He's just the silent assassin at the moment. But the reason I ask Louis is because Daniel Benefield and I mean, when we look back on the season that was, you were a one-hit wonder in GT4, but you still make the highlight reel. So I keep looking each week and thinking, when's he going to turn up? No, isn't it a bastard, right? When real-world racing, real-world commitments interrupt your leisure and your sim racing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, unfortunately, that's life. But no, I've still been keeping busy doing other forms of racing and stuff. We've got quite a few big things planned for Vermilion next year, which is in the works at the moment.
Clint Collard, I concur with that. Adam Lavis, on the way out, we might have to go with a slow-mo of Chapo's kickflip as Collard is wording it there. Very nicely done. Hey, Louis, when you look at the result tonight and what that means, I mean, this championship well and truly alive. Denchi's got it under control. The chance, however, is there for you to snag a top 5 finish if you're on track the next 2 weeks. Will we see you for the next 2 rounds?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I feel like I could be a little bit higher if I could make some of the more of the races. But yeah, hopefully I can come up to the final 2.
There you go. There's Sam Chapman's spectacular exit from the night that was for all to see at home. I knew it was going to be a savage fight on the first of the strips, but I didn't think that the landing would then result in a second spit and throw. So there you go. Hey, when you look at those next 2 race weeks, Louis, I'll ask you the same question I asked Brad. Which of the circuits suits you best, Sebring or Spa?
Spa by a mile. I freaking hate Sebring with a passion.
You're not the first person to say that on this broadcast server. I'm sure Nick Vodiatis is lining up to shake your hand as we speak. Good enough for a bronze at the Olympics, Clint Collard reckons, in relation to Sam Chapman's backflip and exit. I don't think I disagree. I disagree, Clint, because he had to tow back to the pit lane. If it had landed and been able to drive off under his own steam, I wouldn't have given it bronze, silver, and gold. But nevertheless, hey, when you look at the rest of the schedule, Louis, I mean, take out Thursday night. When else do we see you on the GSRC platforms, please?
I'm probably just going to stick with the GT3s for the time being. Just Mondays, I tend to be home a little bit more, so I can at least do this one at night. I don't want to set an unrealistic expectation of coming to more and don't show up. So yeah, just the Monday nights for me.
Last one before I let you go, because again, I stress that there's 2 things here, because again, we are limited on time tonight, and I've still got to get to Daniel Benefield and Matty Dench here. Daniel, of course, we get to chat to all night Thursday night as well. But firstly, was it tactical on your part to just tuck in and follow those guys through the first stint? Because we look at the pace that you had in relation to Daniel at the back end, and it begs the question, why didn't you have a look at a potential overtaking manoeuvre in the outset? Was that a strategic gamesmanship type thing? And the second question is, with regards to the GT3 server, and you look at this championship, and you look at the McLarens, and you look at the way they're dominating. Now that we're out of sprint racing, nothing's changed. They're still doing that. From your standpoint, are you happy that it's now just one race to focus on a Monday night instead of having to worry about the invert situation as well?
Yeah, so first one, it was pretty much the first, in the 8-hour yesterday, the first 5 hours, it was literally the same thing. Leaders were all separated by about a second. And so I knew roughly what fuel number I could hit to get to a certain amount of laps. And then when I realized, I think we all realized actually, probably maybe 3/4 of the way through the first stint, that we're not going to make that extra lap. So we all just started putting the foot down a little bit more. I'm not sure if the McLaren's a little bit better than the Ferrari on fuel. I actually have no idea about that. And then the second stint, again, same sort of thing, just trying to fuel save a little bit where I can. I knew that I sort of had Daniel, I was hoping I had Daniel on pit strategy, and then I saw him pit 2 laps before I did, so I thought, I should have him. And then managed to keep hold of the rears. And then what was the second question again?
Now that we're out of sprint racing, does that suit your racing style? Just having one race to focus on instead of having to worry about the invert and all the permutations that come with sprint racing?
Oh yeah, I like enduros. I like the strategy side of things. I know Sam can back me on this, and because he's the same, we both like fuel saving, sticking to some numbers in a weird way. But yeah, just the one race is good.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Look forward to seeing you again next Monday night. We're not broadcasting Pro next Monday night. It's Pro-Am, but we look forward to checking in and seeing how Pro fares, knowing that it's match point number 1 for the race winner tonight, M. Dench, in pursuit of title number 12. Go well. Nice to catch up as per usual. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Daniel Benefield, third in the Ferrari, and it looked like from the outset that you were very comfortable in that car. There was a reason why you switched back out of the McLaren into the Ferrari. It's serving you well. Is third a fair reflection of your performance tonight, noting that you were second by, a bee's proverbial in qualifying to Denchi?
No, race pace was not good at all, to be honest.
All right, what do you put that down to then, please?
Probably used I had 2 setups to choose from, and I probably went the wrong one, to be honest. It didn't quite have the rotation that I wanted it to have. Which was fine through the first 2 sectors, but through the last sector I was just getting driven away from, which made it... Not that I probably was going to really set up any passes until the last stint anyway, but it really made it impossible to set up a pass.
I can sense the disappointment in your voice. However, in saying that, it's still a podium finish and another one for you, and you keep racking them up.
Yeah, I mean, highest non-McLaren, I guess. I mean, this track is a strong track for the Ferrari, and the McLaren is still stupid quick here. So it's hard. You can't really do much, really, until the next build, where they hopefully pop it back a bit. And then we'll see where we go from there, really. I think tonight should have been a good night. Spa should be pretty good as well for the Ferrari versus the McLaren. It's Sebring that's going to be the issue.
Indeed. Instead of focusing on the negatives of Sebring, 90 minutes around Spa will probably serve you particularly well. It was nice to see, not just one Ferrari fighting up in the top 10 tonight. Sean McLaughlin gave you guys a good run for your money as well there in the early stages, and then held, another 6 McLarens up behind him to get 4th.
Yeah, as I said, the Ferrari always is pretty strong here. It does struggle a little bit through the last sector, but I think the straight and then the flowiness of the first 2 sectors, even the last sector to less of a point, suits the car well. But I think between me as a driver and the setup, we just couldn't really get it together tonight.
Why are you skeptical? Why are you a little bit trepidatious about Sebring, mate? Because at the end of the day, everyone's in the same boat.
It's bumpy, and the Ferrari doesn't like bumps.
Okay. All right. So for the same reason why Porsches don't like curves. Copy. Now we see you again on Thursday night. Any racing between now and then?
No, they're normal. It'll be a lot more focused on GT3 now with the announcement towards the end of last week. Or over the weekend. I can't remember when the announcement was, to be honest, about a certain series that's happening next year. So it'll be full focus.
Oh, yes.
Full focus GT3 now. Now that we've got something to aim for, really.
Yes. Now, if you're wondering, just to fill the gaps in there, because I know exactly what Daniel's talking about. Our friends at Hobbo and his crew over at the Logitech Invitational Series are going to run their usual 12-round supercar calendar, but they're going to run a 6-round GT3 calendar sporadically placed throughout the year as well. So no doubt with 9.5 already having a presence in the supercar component of that series, Daniel's going to throw his hat into the ring and represent the team in the GT3 equivalent, and we're looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. Don't worry, I've already sold them on the back of working with them on a couple of occasions this year. I have told them that my services are there and available to them next year because, well, let's face it, given recent events, I'm not going to have any reason apart from karting to travel down interstate for work at this stage, so I may as well just do it from home in the office. Daniel, I'll let you go on that note. We'll talk more on Thursday night, and very much looking forward to it for the same reasons that Chapo is. Those 2 rounds that await us on Thursday night, GT4 and Porsches, should be absolutely superb given the quality of what we've seen dished up on a Thursday night so far this season.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Porsche Cup, both championships really. 2-horse fight in GT4 between Muir and Chapo, and then this Porsche Cup series is going to go down to the absolute wire. We've got 4 guys going for the championship at the moment, so very excited to cover that one on Thursday night.
Indeed. Hang there, mate. I'll have a chat with you as soon as we're off air. And Chapo's hanging back for the same reason, and probably Louis Greathead as well. But last but certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, the master is in the house. The Denchmark, the number 1, 11 times GT3 champion. And tonight, Denchy, one hand on title number 12, mate. I'm not sure they can catch you at this point. Another clinical performance from you. The McLaren just looked hooked up.
Yeah, it was a really good night out there tonight. We had a little bit of play around in a practice session there last night, and got the setup fairly well dialed in, and everything went well there tonight. So yeah.
And really, standard procedure. You played the same game everybody else did around you. You raced to the first pit stop. You undercut on strategy, went the short fuel, which meant that you were on the long fuel for the second stop. You brought some clear air, not as much as Sean McLaughlin was trying to buy, but you brought some clear air. Then you bring it home in the second stop, by which point you've already built your buffer, and it's goodbye. We're watching you sail off into the sunset. And I think, with the exception of those pit lane transit laps, every lap in which the field was cleansed, you led.
Yeah, I think in terms of overall, I think we led the majority. There was a couple where I was short field, so there's a couple of the later laps where I wasn't in front. But yeah, pretty much any race where there's 2 pit stops, I just split the field down the middle and just try and make it even.
Well, it's even enough tonight, Denchy. I mean, I think it was 14, 11, and 11 tonight. Your 3 stint numbers. What was interesting from our standpoint was the dynamic in which, we saw so many varying numbers at play there. There were pit stops as early as lap 8, as late as lap 14, which meant that we had quite a diverse range of different strategies at play tonight. But one thing remained the same, and that is that you controlled the field. It's a bit hard to ask you questions because at the end of the day, you weren't really challenged tonight. The boys pushed you as long as they could, as hard as they could, but you had an answer for them. So what I'll ask you instead is, this car, this circuit, you've driven a few different manufacturers, a few different cars around here. Where does this one stack up?
Yeah, I mean, the McLaren's pretty good overall at the moment. In later patches, it might get turned down a little bit, but overall, the car balance just works really well for pretty much most tracks at the moment. So yeah, it feels quite nice.
One hand on title number 12. Do you go out and try and get it done next week at Sebring to take the pressure off for Spa?
Yeah, I think we try and wrap it up next week, and then the final round we might have a little test drive of something we haven't driven yet.
Well, that was my next question. Now that you've seen a Mustang clean up in GT3 Pro-Am tonight in the form of Adam Proctor, is that where you're looking for Term 1 of 2025?
Yeah, I've seen the Ford get used in some of these top split official races that happen, and some of the top teams are pretty quick with it, so we'll have to have a bit of a play around with it.
I like it. I'm already looking forward to week 10 of Term 4 already, if you're going to have a crack in the Mustang. Only because the last time we saw you in a Ford, it was Road America, and you just blitzed them in a car that nobody else had been able to master up until that point. So all eyes on Mustang heaven if Denchy's aboard in a couple of weeks' time, provided that he ticks the box and it is official next week. However, in saying that, Denchy, if you don't get it wrapped up next week, status quo, you'll come on rock up in the McLaren in week 10?
I think like even if I turn up with the Ford, it'll be half points. So if that's enough to wrap it up, then we'll probably just do that. So we'll see how it sort of plays.
I like it. Well, yeah, Adam will obviously be the bloke to talk to with regards to that. Now that last one for you, because then I've got to wrap it up and get out of here. With regards to where you're at the moment, we saw you in the Porsche a couple of weeks ago. That was a bit hit-miss because you ran out of fuel on the run to the line. Now that you're not running in the Porsche as regularly, what have you been making of that Porsche series when you've tuned in to see the boys in action? And what are you doing in your spare time, considering now we're only seeing you once a week?
My spare time consists of old man napping after work. So yeah, we tend to have a nap and then wake up pretty late, and then it's back to bed again. So yeah, we're pretty much just doing the one race a week at this point. But I think for Porsches, we'll have to jump in there for round 10 at Phillip Island again.
I like it. I look forward to that immensely. We always talk about the contenders in championship contention and race contention come week 10, and those that can make or shape it. Underline Matt Dench is one of those guys in week 10. We look forward to seeing you then, mate. Thank you for your time tonight. Good luck Sebring next week.
No worries. We'll catch everyone.
Excuse me. Let's wrap this one up very, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Huge thanks to the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here. Spreyton, Ciders, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Bowens, the Builder's Choice, JJZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, MWave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Without them, this doesn't happen, plain and simple. Keep your eyes peeled. Tomorrow, GT3 points will be updated. We'll update them for you in broadcast trim on either Wednesday or Thursday night. And on that subject, this is what the rest of week 8 of Term 4 looks like for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Tomorrow night, no broadcast this week. We'll be back in week 10, I dare say. Skip Barbers for the introductory formula from Willow Springs 3 sprint races there, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed by a trip to the Circuit de Jerez, the MotoGP configuration thereof. 2 sprint races for the latest round of the Wings and Slicks Championship. Thanks to JJZ Construction. Super Formula Lights, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday night, off the Texas Motor Speedway in the Orbic Australia NASCAR Truck Series, and that'll be a 70-lap race there, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Sam Chapman, Liam Banks with you for that, and staying with you for a trip to the Motorland Aragon Circuit and a 40-minute race for the Super 2 Supercar Championship, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thursday night, Daniel Correa-Sar, Daniel Benefeld and I with you off to the Circuit Zolder for both the entree and the main course on Thursday night. It's the opposite of what we saw last week. It's a one-race program for GT4 from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time before a sprint round for the Porsche Cup with thanks to Spreyton Ciders from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Friday night, back with you, Joe Baldwin, Nick Fodiatis and I with you for what will be a pivotal round of the Downforce Legends Championship with thanks to Bowens, the Builder's Choice from Circuit de Lebanon in France, and that is a 20-minute race followed by a 30-minute feature, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Then we stay in the Radical SR10s to go to the Mountain on Saturday night, 32 laps there for the latest instalment of Mountain, then 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Next Monday night, we're underway with week 9 of Term 4 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Night 1 thereof encompasses a trip to Suzuka in the rain, I'm told. I'm reliably informed it'll be wet there for the penultimate round of Spreyton Ciders LMP2 Challenge from Suzuka, and that's at 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time for the 30-minute race there. Then on to our last look at the Pro-Am split at GT3 with thanks to Waste Options for this season. That's from Sebring in Florida. That's 60 minutes, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. On the way out, merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com is where you go for all your GSRC paraphernalia, stocking stuffers for the festive season, etc. and so forth. That's where you go. If you want to get involved in what we do here, race.tgsrci.com is the place to go. That has all the information relevant to the club, how to sign up, how to get involved, etc. and so forth. And on the way out, Reneg to mention it because it just slipped our mind as everything else was unfolding around us tonight. Australia getting the job done against Pakistan, 3 for 118 and 11.2 overs. They were chasing 118 for victory in the third and final T20 International. They've swept that series with their A squad, and the test match starts on Friday in Perth. That's it from us. We're done. Impressive. Chris Noble, too good in LMP2. Matty Dench getting the job done here in GT3. Another compelling instalment of Monday Night Motorsport done and dusted for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and it sets us up nicely for the rest of this third last week of the term. Don't forget some special events coming your way towards the end of the campaign as well. We'll talk about that in more detail on Thursday night. In the meantime, thanks for your company, Australia. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, and look forward to your company on Wednesday night as Week 8 action continues. Until then, on behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, I'm Zach Caben. Have a great evening, everybody, or enjoy the rest thereof it, I should say. Until we see you next time, it's bye for now.